Hi guys, it's Andy from mcfcfantv and welcome to another Friday night social. These just seem like they're coming thick and fast at the moment, but we've got some guests on tonight, our usual suspects, well, some of them anyway, and what we've also got is a guest from West Ham United, and that's Cess, and we'll speak to Cess very shortly. But first up, let's bring him in. Hey up, Chris. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm all right, Andy. Yourself?
Yeah, very good.
How are your legs?
Yeah, my back's worse after today. That's maybe something Chris knows what I've got into today, but yeah, maybe we'll talk about it later. But we'll keep on the Man City theme and the rather than what I've been getting up to today. But anyway, glad you're on, buddy. Over to Melbourne in Australia. Sir Alan, how are you, mate?
How are you doing? I'm all right, good. Thank you very much. Had a busy week at work, which has been good. Yeah. Good win on Wednesday night, as you know, so that kept me in a good mood all week.
Good.
But everything's all good, to be honest with you, mate. Everything's all good.
You need to tell that Steve Bardsley stop picking on Raheem.
Mate, it's funny. It's funny because in the pub, everyone has the player that they don't like, okay, or they don't fancy. And every time he gets the ball and loses it, he pipes up. Well, how does he get 400 grand a week? Blah, 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 blah. But that's all part of the fun when you go to the pub and watch it. It's we've all done like that.
Of course it is, mate. Well, listen, thanks for coming again, and thanks for the videos the other night, mate. They were very good.
No worries.
We've got Kurt. How are you doing, mate?
I'm sound as a pound, mate. Not too bad at all. Bit tired, but really looking forward to this. I always enjoy the West Ham game. I've got a lot of friends at West Ham, them down my way, so it's always a good game to watch.
It is. They're a team that I think many, certainly old school City fans appreciate. We've always had a bit of an affiliation with West Ham. Very similar fan base and things like that. But let's just quickly see who's on, and then what we'll do is we'll bring Cess in and we'll talk about the West Ham preview. After the preview, just to let you know, we'll have a very quick break like we normally do on the Friday Night Social. And then we're coming back and we've got some brilliant questions to discuss about Manchester City. So let's see who's on. Killian's on. Hello, mate. How are you? Adam Quinn's on. You all right, guys? Charlie's on. Evening Blues, always a great watch. The FNS and come on City. Let's make it 20 in a row. Yeah, he's already got the hashtags in there. Ross is going to be very happy with it. Charlie, good evening, Blues. On the Moretti. Well done. I don't think Chris is on the Moretti tonight, are you, mate?
I'm on the posh whiskey tonight, Andy. Thanks.
What kind of whiskey is it, though, Chris?
It's a Gentleman Jack, mate. Very nice.
It's on the Gentleman Jack. We'll enjoy it, buddy.
Well.
We'll enjoy it. John Grogan, evening Blues. So's Ronnie. Ronnie, how are you, mate? Hope your missus is well. Ross Evans is on. That's Alan's partner in crime over there in Australia. Bonjour, how are you? This is a new one. Mutsetsi Thichanthal. I have no idea. Man City 4. Is that your score prediction, mate? But welcome to the channel. Sean Fogarty, hi. I think 2-1 tomorrow. We're going to talk about score predictions in a bit, mate. Evening, everyone. Leonard's back on. How are we all doing? Good, mate. John Grogan, evening Blues. 4 months sober. Open the pubs. Yeah, yeah. Ivor's changed his moniker. There he goes. Phyllis, the most hated Blue. Ivor's had some grief this week on Twitter, but as usual, he just says it as it is. Yeah, some of the comments I thought were a bit harsh that were made, but anyway, yeah, they were mental. Pardo Oaks, evening all Blues. How are you? Ross Evans is on again. Hope you have a great show, guys. It feels a bit like Cannon without ball, Dell without rudders, one banana without two banana. Miss you, Alan. I take it you guys are going out tonight, back in pubs.
Yeah.
Less said about that, the better, especially in current lockdown rules in the UK.
We've got a do one tonight in the Italian restaurants on Lygon Street.
All right, okay.
And then we watch.
Right, there. So there you go. So he's gone. He just doesn't help himself, does he? If he just continues in that way, then he just goes off. Stop rubbing it in, but we'll bring you back. There you go. Is Laporte injured, Ross? There was nothing mentioned today about injuries. There was only Ake.
It's a running joke, Andy.
It's a joke, Andy.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's your in joke. Sorry, I missed that one. No, Ross, don't think so. There, others don't know what the in joke is. So, hope you's as good. Says Living Dead Girl. Yes, we are. Thank you. Hope you're well. Michael's on. Yes, I have good mate in work. He's a big West Ham supporter. I have a lot of time for them. Great to see you all tonight. Looking to a good show. Thank you, mate. Ivor saying thanks to Scott Williams. Scott Williams is on. Oh, yeah. Missed it. Ivor, class. Kiku's on. Good evening. How are you? Cheddars is also on. Let West Ham win to make the top 4 race more interesting. I'm sure Cess will be interested in that, who you're going to meet very, very shortly. He fell for it. Yeah, I think you talked about me there. I did. Jukebox DJ. Thought on Man City's Champions League run so far. Maybe that's something we might talk about on another time. We've got set of questions for the later part 2 show that we can discuss. But yeah, maybe keep putting it on it. Like the hair, Andy Mark Boland. My hair's a mess. I can't wait for the barbers to be open. Or get my clippers get out and get my lad to shave it again. City 3, West Ham 0, no drama, you reckon, Ivor? Right, okay, we've got a guest on tonight, and we're going to talk about West Ham and the preview tomorrow. And this is Cess from the West Ham United. I need to get this right.
West Ham United. No, you got it.
West Ham Irons United. Because I was Irons United, and I was thinking, no, that's what we should give you your full name. How are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, not too bad. Surprised of how the season's gone at the moment. Who would have thought that we'd be in the position that we're in? Because I certainly didn't, along with many West Ham fans, certainly didn't think we'll be in the position that we're in. The way the season went last season and the way the first game went, I had no confidence whatsoever because that Newcastle game was utter dross, to be honest with you. We were just thinking of the worst, but then as performances started going, something just clicked for some reason. All of a sudden, we just turned into different animals, and it shocked me. And I'm loving this at the moment. I might as well just enjoy it, just see how this pans out. To be honest with you, so I just enjoy it.
You guys, there's more than one of you. I have seen there's more than one of you on your you have a YouTube channel, and guys who want to watch it, you can go over. I've posted the link in the description below this video, so you can go over there. The YouTube channel is on there as well. But how many of you your YouTube channel? Very quickly, how many are they on the channel?
Regular, there's about 5-6 of us. Yeah, there's 5-6 of us regulars. We sometimes get like just a couple of like people that just want to join. If people want to join up, we let them just have their say, really. So we do like different types of shows, really. We do like watch-alongs, which has been like our favourites at the moment because you just get the raw action, get the raw emotion straight away. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's been good, to be honest with you.
Nice one. Well, listen, we've got some questions for you tonight. What we want to start with is, how's your season been overall? Because you're in a position where I don't think many opposition fans, probably West Ham fans, would have thought you would be, but you are flying high at the moment. How's your season been overall before we get into sort of the game tomorrow and things like that?
It's been crazy. It's been crazy. It's been completely mental. But like I said, us fans, we just got to enjoy it at the moment because we don't know what's going to happen in the next 5-6 games. We're just going to take it every game as it comes, starting with you lot tomorrow. But we're just enjoying it at the moment. We're enjoying what Moyes is doing because a lot of us, we didn't really see like the positive in Moyes. So the second time around, we didn't really see the positives. But then we gave him a chance. Thought, why not? You know what? Let's just back Moyes. Let's back the team. Yeah. We've got our own like issues with the board, but we don't want to drag that into the team really. And then from there, he's just brought a couple of players in, and then all of a sudden it's just clicked, and it's just a complete difference in the whole team in general. You could see it, the way they train, the way they are all together. We've not had that since the 15-16 season. It's not had that in a long time. It's just ever since we've moved into the new stadium, everything's just been toxic from like left to right, centre. But with the team now, at the moment, sky's the limit. At the moment, we just got to enjoy it, just have fun with it, man.
Well, I mean, we're fans, aren't we? When things go wrong, generally, as fans of clubs, everyone's looking for an excuse as to why it's gone wrong, and it's either the owners or the manager, or it's certain players, or it's whatever. What's been the transition? I mean, we can't really sort of put a time limit on it because with the last year, there's been no fans in stadiums. But I know, speaking to loads of West Ham United fans on Twitter and things like that, originally they were absolutely hating the move to the stadium. But do you think as West Ham fans you have to accept that? You've got to move to a bigger stadium, and we know what it's like moving from.
We do have to accept it. We don't want change, but unfortunately, it's the way things are going. A lot of teams now are leaving their stadiums. I think Everton's about to leave their stadiums.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna happen. But it's one of them ones we have to deal with. I think it's just the manner of how we left and things that we were promised, etc.
Yeah.
And just things didn't really go the way us fans envisioned. But we're in the stadium now. We just got to just ride it out, I'm afraid. But, things are positive at the moment. The players that we've got, man, it just gives us hope, really. And the manager itself, like Moyes, he's give us, like, new hope. So, we just got to see what happens, really.
Kurt, what are your thoughts on West Ham so far this season?
Well, I always enjoy watching West Ham. One of my best mates is a Tottenham fan, so I love giving it about West Ham. We bet every season of it's under or over West Ham's going to thing, and I always back them to finish in the top half every season. And most of the time, those boys let me down, but that's the way it goes. But no, I really like West Ham. I like what Moyes has done. I think people have got to remember what he did at Everton. When he took over Everton, they were pretty much going down. Let's not get it mistaken. And he built that club into a top. He got them into the Champions League, an established top 6, top 7 side. Don't get me wrong, there wasn't as many players in the game at that time, but he still did that with a core of players that he trusted. And I think he's basically just repeating that at West Ham. I think he took a couple bad jobs after the United job that didn't do his stock any good as a manager. I think taking the Sunderland job and the Sociedad job is obviously not going to do well. But I like Moyes as a manager. Those are the type of managers that I enjoy. You know me. Back Sam Allardyce, I back Moyes. I like those type of managers. And you just can't look past their. You can't just look past their transfer business this season because at the end of the day, they brought Souček and Korfal, and I don't know what the combination fee was, but it can't be more than 15 million. And if you were to put either of those players on the market, they'd be looking at over 30 million for each of them. Maybe not so for Korfal, but definitely for Souček. And I think they've done great business in the market where they haven't done great business in the past. And that's obviously leading to it. They got a few of the bad eggs that they bought that didn't really work out, and they've got players that wanted to be therein. They've had extremely bad luck with injuries over the last 2 years, which people never seem to give the lower sides credit for. When they have big players out, and they're doing it without a proper number 9. Antonio's a great player. I used to play at Tooting and Mitcham a couple of years below him when he was there, and he's a great lad. And he's not a 20-goal a season striker. But if they can get someone in the summer to put goals away, then they could consistently look for a charge on the sort of top 7, top 8 sort of thing, season in, season out. But yeah, that's it for me, mate. I love that team. I really enjoy watching him.
Chris?
Hi, Cess. Welcome to the channel, mate.
Thank you.
Well, I think I can speak for most City fans and say it would be great if the West Ham came second this year to us. I think that would be the perfect league table. So good luck to you. I just want to know for Cess, how's Lingard settled in?
He's been impressive. I think now people. Lingard's always been a good player. He has. He's always got something in his locker. But I think with everything that's happened to him personally, you can tell it's affected him big time. And him being at Man United, it wasn't helping. He's just playing second fiddle, maybe third fiddle at the time. And I think Moyes is like, he just thought, just come with us, like get some gains in you. I know what type of player you are. Like I have faith in you, and I know you're gonna just bring us into like an extra level. And he has straight away. And he's when he's come in, I think we play so much different. Like he's getting Antonio into like proper position, like because Antonio likes to drop so deep and just running around like a headless chicken. But it's like it's just our pressing game. It's just changed. Everything's just changed from like top to bottom, really. And then you're just seeing the quality in him, like just the way he's passing, his movement, he's just like driving at players, and it just gets everyone going, really. And it's just a joy to watch, really. I just hope we get him on a permanent, to be honest with you.
I think you've got a good chance of that.
I hope we do.
I think you have. Alan?
Hi, Cess. Well, I do like West Ham. I always have done. They're pretty much aligned to City's type of history as well, with years and years of no stability. And I think for the first time in a long time, your club's got some stability. You obviously didn't like moving stadiums, which when we moved from Main Road, it was hard. But we're used to it now, and I think you're getting there. Now you think that you're accepting what's going on. Yeah, you're very similar with changing managers, what City used to do for years and years and years. So I think you've got to try and cut that out and try and and leave a manager in there for quite a few years and let stability take over. Moyes knows what he's doing. The only time he failed was at United, which I wanted him to stay there forever and let them struggle, but which is fine. But no, I do like West Ham. I've been up to Hudson Park a few times when I was living in England, and you know I emigrated 14 years ago to Melbourne, but I do like West Ham. My sister's ex-boyfriend was a West Ham fan, so I've been to Upton Park with him a few times when City were away, and I was visiting my sister in London. So yeah, they play good football. They're renowned for that, and good luck. I'd like to sign Declan Rice off at the end of the season to replace Fernandinho. So don't get too upset when that happens. But there we go.
He's thrown that grenade already early on.
We want him. Trust me, we want him. Yeah.
Well, you might. That's Alan for you anyway. He'll throw the grenades in. Anyway, I've got a question for you, Cess, and that is, who's been your standout players? Maybe 2 or 3 players, and why they've been so good. I know you might say Lingard has come in, but I'm talking about the whole season, because you have been fairly consistent. All of a sudden, you're becoming very consistent. And so who are the 2 or 3 players that really have stood out this season that maybe we need to be careful of tomorrow?
Souček, he's one of them. Souček's come in, he's just like, his energy is just ridiculous. Like his engine, for someone that's his size, for him to be moving around the pitch is just absolutely ridiculous. He's just non-stop running. Like I think the Man United game, he ran like 17 kilometers. Like it's something ridiculous, like 17 kilometers. Like it was just insanity. Like, I think he's one of the players that he's been impressive. Another one that's going to surprise me is Craig Dawson.
Yes,
Craig Dawson, the one that I think it was a bit of an uproar, a bit of a underwhelming signing at first. Like everyone was thinking about like what he was like at West Brom and Watford. People were just saying like, "Oh, like why are we getting him? Why are we getting him?" All of a sudden, he's just literally been an absolute rock at the back with Obama. It's been ridiculous how he's just changed. He's just changed the whole defense pretty much. Like him and Obama have just been like unstoppable at the moment. And then obviously you got Declan Rice as well. He's like our diamond. He's like our diamond.
Alan's summer signing.
He's our
Come
diamond.
here.
I know Pep's been keeping an eye on him. I know he has.
Oh yeah. Don't worry, we're all keeping an eye on him. Trust me.
I know. Yeah, those are three, to be honest. But there's plenty more players. You got Sufal, Antonio as well. I think there's a lot of players that have stood out, really, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Not just one player. It's just been like most of the team.
You mentioned David Moyes earlier. Now, I know from being on social media a long time, I know when David Moyes was brought back, the West Ham fans, on the whole, were giving him absolute, well, not him personally, but actually the appointment from Golden Sullivan were giving your owners pelters for bringing him back.
We were in such a low point as it was with that Pellegrini era. We was at such a low point, and then they just got David Moyes, and we're just like, oh, here we go. They're doing it again, you know. But like I said, he kept us up, and all of a sudden he's just changed us now.
Yeah.
I think he's done things his way, and I think that's how it's meant to go, without like the board interfering too much. Because I think that's been an issue. Like the board, like they like to like drop their 2 cents and just interfere a bit too much. Whereas like they got to let Moyes do his thing, him and his coaching team. They've got to let him work his magic, and at the moment he is working his magic.
Well, it's interesting because Pep was very, very complimentary about David Moyes today. I think he put him in the same. You might not like it with Roy Hodgson, and sort of talking about their experience, and I think at one point he was asked. He said he when he first arrived, and he was talking about the Sunderland game, and he said, David Moyes, what did he say to you about the Premier League? And he said he gave me some advice on the Premier League, and somebody went back later, a reporter saying, well, all right, well, he said he gave you advice. What advice about the Premier League when you first came in? He went, just buy expensive wine or some nice wine at the end of the day. And I think Pep likes and probably has taken a few glasses of red wine with some of these older managers who've been around the Premier League a long time, and we forget how long Moyes has actually been around the Premier League, and is very, very experienced, and did a great job on the whole with Everton, and then sort of drifted out, came back again. I think it's a bit of a masterstroke by your owners, who have got a lot of grief sometimes off the West Ham fans, and but I think as it stands at the moment, if you continue the way that you're going, Moyes seems to have a plan, and if you stick with him, I think he will make you that guaranteed top 6 or 7 team every season consistently, if they're willing to invest in it.
Big if.
That's the if. That's always the if.
Yeah.
With you do need a big squad. You do need to invest in players. Every club does it. I mean, you only have to listen to Pep's comments the other night and what he said today in his press conference about. He was asked again about the spending, and he said, "Look, if you want the best players and you want a big squad and you want a big squad of the best players, you have to pay that type of money." But don't forget the likes of United, Arsenal, all of those teams when they were consistently winning back-to-back titles, and it was only literally a 2-horse race with Arsenal and United who was winning the league, and then Chelsea came along and it was a 2-horse race again. Now suddenly City have joined the club. We're getting all the grief for spending money when people have been doing it for decades, but you do need to spend money without a shadow of a doubt. But, I want your thoughts before I have a think about tomorrow's game, because I'm going to come to Chris. Chris, have you got some stats about the West Ham City encounters and anything like that?
Yeah, I've got a little bit, maybe. We've only played 113 times, which is surprised me when we played Liverpool like 240 times, something like that. But so we've won 58 of those games and lost 37. So that's a win ratio of 51% for City, which is not too shabby. But the strange thing is, there's only been 16% of those games have ended up in draws, which is really quite low. So draws aren't really a thing between City and West Ham. So the last 10 games between City and West Ham at the Etihad, we've played 9. We've won 9 and lost 1. And that was the one back in September 2015. We've scored 23 and West Ham have scored 6. So that looks pretty good. The last 10 Premier League seasons, including the first game this season, played 21, won 15, drawn 4, lost 2, scored 51, let in 15. The West Ham's Premier League form, last 10 games, they've won 7, drawn 2, and only lost the 1 game against Liverpool. And away from home, they've played 5, won 3, drawn 2. And our last meeting with them, obviously, back in October, was the 1-1, where Antonio scored and Foden equalised. So, yeah, that's pretty much the stats, Andy.
Thank you. Before we come back to you, Cess, on your thoughts on tomorrow's game, Leonard Success. It was a question from The West Ham Irons United says, who do you guys fear from West Ham? Well, I'm going to say one name, and one name who always seems to do well against us, and that's obviously Antonio. But Kurt?
Yeah, well, it's pretty much the two guys I said at the start. It's my boy Mikel Antonio. He's an absolute warrior. He doesn't get hardly enough credit for his movement off the ball and his work rate. People just think, oh, he just bumbles with the ball and somehow gets in the back of the net, but that's just really, really low analysis. Souček is the warrior, because let's not forget, they've rotated. Basically, Moyes has eased Noble out of the team, and West Ham fans haven't, like, we know what it's like having legacy players at the club and they're on their back end, and how you manage that is a very important thing with the fans, and I think he's done it exceptionally. He brings on Noble when the games need to be shored up. He's the captain, he is the leader. He's doing basically, what Vinny did when he didn't play for a lot, but when he was playing, he did what he needed to do. But yeah, Souček and Antonio are the guys to watch from West Ham. They scare the life out of me.
Chris?
Well, you know me, I love Declan Rice. I think he's a fantastic player. I thought he played a great game in the first game this season. He was, for me, man of the match by quite some distance, and he's a great player. But I'm absolutely shitting it that Lingard's going to score.
Yeah. you know that's going to happen, don't you?
Yeah.
It's always the same. Your rag comes back and sorts it. Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
What about you, Alan?
Well, I'm the same as Chris. With Declan Rice controls the game for West Ham. Everything goes through him, and he stops everything as well. He's a very good, intelligent footballer. Antonio is a beast up front. He's the East End Lukaku. He's a big, strong, very powerful and quick player. He's hard to, and he is hard to stop, and whatever you might say. But like Chris said, you can see what Lingard's going to hit the back of the net tomorrow at some point. It just, it's just odds on that's going to happen. West Ham are playing well, and they are playing well. They're organised. They know what they're doing. It won't be easy tomorrow, and they're in your face. So Moyes has got them fired up.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Antonio always does well against us, but my big concern really is Lingard, like you said. It's like, it'd be typical of him going from United to West Ham, and then he goes in as an absolute stormer against us. It really would. Right. Thoughts on the game tomorrow then, Cess? More to do with a quick overview of how do you think the game will go tomorrow at the Etihad?
I think the first half will be very, very cagey from both sides. I don't think you'll see an exciting first half, to be honest. I think everything's going to happen more in the second half, to be honest with you. I think where teams will open up a bit more. So I don't see nothing much happening in the first half because of how the first game was. It's going to be very, very cagey, I think, personally. I'll be honest with you.
What about you, Kurt?
For me, it's all going to come down to the midfield battle and how Moyes sets up, whether if he continues with the 4-2-3-1, which I think is their best formation for them. But I think that might not be the best suited formation for this game. I think it's going to be literally... Remember the Chelsea game where it was played in 20 yards of the pitch, pretty much the whole game? That 20 yards is going to decide if Souček and Rice can get the better of our midfield, which is obviously not an easy task. They could be onto something, but with the form our guys are showing, it's just very hard to see anything other than a dominant game from us, really.
Chris?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure about whether City will be cagey or not, Cess. I think we'll do what we have been doing, basically, is control possession of the ball and try and smother you in your half of the field and hopefully make a breakthrough. I think that's how we'll play. Expecting a few changes from the game midweek. I think that's one thing that I would say worries me a little bit, is that it's not that long since we played Gladbach in Hungary, and the old Ammers have had a nice week off resting, so that does worry me a little bit. But I think we should be all right. I watched 3 of West Ham's recent games, and that was the Liverpool game, the United game, so I'm probably not a good luck charm for you, Cess, and the Tottenham game. And I I'm sorry to say, but I thought Tottenham were a bit unlucky not to get anything out of the game. So I'm not overly worried. If we play how we have been playing of late, I think we'll be all right.
Alan?
It depends on how fresh our players are, but I think we'll dominate possession. I think that's a thing. It's all a question of, do we move the ball quick enough and look fresh? I think he'll make quite a few changes. I honestly think we might be seeing Sergio.
Hold on. We're not going to go to team lineups just yet. Just overview on the game.
I think if we score early, we'll score a hatful. If we don't score early, it could be a dodgy result. We've got to be very careful.
I think Alan gets a tenner every time he mentions Aguero, Andy.
I know, yeah. Well, he can mention him again, so he might get another tenner coming up. Because what we're going to do is, Cess, give me your lineup for tomorrow. And I always write these down, so don't worry if I'm writing.
Here as well. Yeah.
Go on then. So what's your lineup?
I think we're going to go the back five. I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
Fabianski in goal, Ben Johnson, Creswell, Dawson, Duke, and Sufal. We're going to have Rice and Souček.
Slow down. 1 minute. Give me a minute. I'm trying to write these down.
Oh, you didn't write down? Okay, let me slow down.
I always write down the opposition.
Okay.
So you've got Johnson. Fabianski.
Ben Johnson.
Creswell. Yeah.
Dawson.
Yeah.
Duke.
Yeah.
Sufal.
Okay.
So that's the back five sorted. Then you're gonna have Rice and Souček in the middle.
Okay.
And then you're gonna have Lingard one side.
Yeah.
Fornals the other side.
Yeah.
And I think he's gonna save Antonio for the second half, and he's gonna play Bowen.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
I'd be very happy with that.
I think he's going to go along the lines of that.
Why do you think he'll rest Antonio, or not rest him, but why do you think he will be on the bench and not start again tomorrow?
I think personally, to see, he just wants to assess how Antonio is really, because sometimes we tend to rush Antonio and then his hamstring goes, and then it's just like
well, there is that.
It does tend to happen. We do tend to rush Antonio and then burn him out. So I think we're trying to ease Antonio back in a way, and not just overwork him too much.
Well, I think that's.
But I reckon he will start with Brown in a way. But I think what he's going to do is, you don't know. We're not really have a striker. It's going to be everyone's going to alternate. So Lingard will probably be striker, then Bowen will probably be striker, and then Fornals maybe will be striker. So they're just going to interchange it.
Is that one of your guys on here?
Yes.
Because they've got Diop. Did you have Diop? Or did I miss that? Oh, you did have Diop. Yeah, you did. Sorry, I might have wrote it down wrong. Maybe. Bowen is a problem though.
They got runners for days with that lineup. Runners for absolute days. Every single one of those forward line players is an absolute athlete and will run for 90 minutes. So if they do play that, like I said, they're going to smother that midfield, or at least try to.
Pep Moyes has been experimenting with a false nine. Joseph Moyes, we call him now. He's been experimenting with a false nine. He clearly has. Maybe that'll be the way. Tyrone thinks that Bowen quick got a few tricks as well. Interesting. Souček will cause problems. Great in the air, says Peter Curry. We've not gone on to the City lineup still. Andy's still pretending he can write. yeah, cheeky bastard, Ivor. You just wait, mate. You just wait. We know Ivor anyway. But right, okay.
Writing too much.
I think he's been writing far too much. Anyway, but I'm gonna come to your lineups for tomorrow then, Kurt. If you can quickly go through your lineup as usual, I will be writing them down. If you'd like to keep a note. Yeah, go ahead.
Mate, I'm going for I think it's going to be lots of rotation. Eddie in goal.
Yeah.
Walker at right back.
Oh, hold on, I was putting it in the wrong box then. What you're going for, Walker?
Walker at right back.
Your poor missus, Andy.
I know. It's been a long day. That climb has done me in. Go on.
So I've got Walker at right back, Stones Diaz in the middle.
Delicious, yeah.
And then my man Zini Zinchenko on the left.
Interesting. Okay.
Midfield 3, I've gone for Fernandinho, Kevin De Bruyne, and Phil Foden.
Interesting. Yeah.
And then for the front 3, I've gone Mahrez on the right.
Yeah.
Torres on the left.
What's that?
Torres on the left.
Torres
on the left, yeah. And I think Sergio's going to start tomorrow.
Ooh. Okay, very interesting. Chris, what's your lineup then? I'm assuming it's Eddie in there.
Eddie in
goal.
Then
I don't have to scribble out in your box. So Eddie in goal, yeah.
Yeah. Golden delicious, mate.
Yeah, as usual.
Cancelo, Stones, Diaz, and Zinchenko.
Cancelo, Stones, and you're going for Zinni as well. Okay.
Yeah. I think he'll play Rodri, Gundogan, and KDB in the middle.
Rodri, Gundo, and KDB, yeah.
Raz, I think, will play because he has a great record against West Ham.
Yeah.
Bernardo, I'd like to see play as a false 9, and Torres on the left.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, okay.
Wow. This just shows you what Pep was talking about utilising players, and we've got such a great bench, if you want to call it a bench. You can see the difference already in the teams. Alan, who's your lineup for City tomorrow?
Edison, Walker, Delicious.
Hold on. Yeah, Edison, Walker, the delicious duo. Yeah,
Delicious. I'm going to go for Zinni, left full back.
Yeah.
Midfield, I'm going to go for Rodri, KDB, and Gundo.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Foden, left-hand side.
Yeah.
I'm going to play Bernardo on the right-hand side.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And Sergio up top.
My Lord, see what I mean? This is the problem with Man City. We just you've got so many different. I mean, there's 3 people giving you their opinions on what we could play, and all of them look great lineups. Well, I'm going to go for Edison, Walker on the right. I'm going to go Cancelo playing left back. I think Zinni will stay. Sorry, Kurt. I'm going to go for obviously Delicious. The 2 centre backs. Fernandinho, I think, starts tomorrow with KDB and Gundogan. And then I'll go with Sterling on the right, Foden on the left, and Gabby Jesus up front. I think he stays and retains since I was scored. So that's my lineup. So as you can see there, 4 of us.
Yeah,
all very similar defence, apart from the left backs or right backs, whichever one. But then look at your forward line, and that's been our problem. It's not a problem, can't be a problem because of the way that we're playing. But it's just who Pep picks, and we can rarely ever predict. I mean, when was the last time any of you guys ever got a spot on lineup from Pep Guardiola?
The only time I got one was the League Cup final against Arsenal. I think that's the only times I've got one. Yeah.
All right,
it's a good game. Yeah, I'm bragging, aren't I? When was
Stop bragging. Stop bragging. You must be the first person ever. It is so difficult, Cess, to pick a Pep Guardiola team because we try it every week and we never ever get it right. Ever. There's always something he does.
Yeah.
It's madness, absolutely madness.
Yeah. It's hard to everyone's fantasy teams as well.
It's crazy.
You don't know really.
That's what
I hate Pep, mate. It's because he's ruining fantasies for years and years.
Absolutely. Ivor says this is why I argue Man City have the strongest squad ever. It is phenomenal. And I was listening to a podcast today, and it was journalists. It was John Cross, Jeremy Cross, and it was Andy Dunn. And it was quite interesting. We're talking about City. I only listened to the City stuff, not the Spurs stuff. But it was interesting. They were talking about it, saying they were sort of intimating the same thing. Is this squad You only have to look at the bench that they had the other night and the bench they had against Arsenal, and they were saying this squad is just phenomenal. It is just incredible how in depth it is. And I think that's where we've been looking. And then they were talking about the Pep comments about, did he really mean that, City have just got loads of money, and or was he being ironic? And they seem to think he was being honest, saying, yeah, well, all other squads do it. And we have, but the difference with us is we bought well and we train well. We train them and we make them better players. And that's why our squad is so in depth. We don't have a lot of our bench. How many players, this is the question, how many players have City sold over the last 10 years? Well, all right, let's say under Pep Guardiola. How many players have City got rid of because they've been rubbish and haven't worked?
Actually, let me think.
No, I think we have.
No, we have.
Bonnie.
He's talking about Pep. Under Pep.
No, under Pep.
Under Pep. Mm.
Yeah, but he was sold by Pep when he came.
But there's the question. So you've got a manager who's been here nearly 5 years and has got rid of how many players because they've not been good enough?
Probably, yeah. Someone says Nolito. Wasn't Nolito Pellegrini or am I mistaken?
I think he was a Pellegrini signing.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, what was it? A Pep signing?
Yeah,
I'm not. Yeah, I know people say Mangala and things. I'm talking about players that have been and he's got rid of.
We had a little bit of a period between sort of 2012 and 2015 when we bought back.
Yeah, we did.
2015 when we got in KDB and Sterling, it's just magic every window.
Yeah. I mean, we've had players in the past. People are saying Kelechi and things. He really came through the youth system.
The youth system, yeah.
Javi Garcia and old Mangala and the rest. But I'm talking about this. Under Pep, that shows you just how strong the squad is. Yeah. That even the four of us. We can never even pick a Pep team because we know he rotates constantly. Somebody's saying Fernando, but
what about Danilo? Was he good for you?
Yeah,
I love Danilo. Absolutely loved Danilo.
He didn't like being second. It's because he was second fiddle at Real Madrid. He came to us second fiddle with us. So, an interesting fact about Danilo: he's won every league he's been in since I think 2013. He just keeps winning wherever he goes. He's wins. So I think this might be the first year because it doesn't look like Juve going to get it this year.
No,
I thought Danilo was brilliant. He just wanted a permanent spot, didn't he? He just wanted. He didn't like the rotation policy. He didn't like the fact that he was struggling to get a berth. But he was a brilliant player for us.
Well, he's done an amazing
for me anyway.
So you can't really argue.
Well, yeah, I didn't think that at the time, but the last couple of months have, certainly starting to prove me wrong. But, I think people forget, like we discussed the other night about Gundogan, everyone's going about Gundogan player of the season. It's been good for the last 2 months. He's been exceptional. Yeah. We forget what he was like. Well, not that he wasn't a bad player, don't get me wrong.
But he stepped up. Yeah,
he stepped up. Of course he has. Absolutely. And Cancelo's been the same. The last couple of months he's been superb since he's moved him into a different position.
That's true.
But he's been exceptional.
He's been like that main difference.
Easily the best. Easily the best.
He's ridiculous.
And he's 23. He's 23 years of age. It's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Right. I'm going to go around the room and I'm going to come to Cess first and then ask for your score prediction. And then you might have some questions for us, maybe. And we've got about, 15 minutes left of your part one. So, score prediction. I'm going to go to Kurt first. I'm going to come to Cess last. So, Kurt, score prediction for tomorrow. And don't forget, I need to write this down.
I think it's going to be a really tough 2-0. As tough a 2-0 as you get. Yeah.
A tough 2-0. We'll take that. Yeah. We'll take that all day long. Chris?
Yeah, 2-0's my prediction as well, actually.
Ooh. Alan?
2-1, and it'd be very, very tight.
2-1. There you go. I'm going for it. I'm going to go for a clean sheet, and I'm going to go for a 3-0 City win. I've got a feeling tomorrow the players are right up for it. And this I think the more that we're not going to go the whole season winning games. Somebody will beat us, and it might be you tomorrow. It wouldn't surprise me if it's you tomorrow. But I just think we're on this roll, and the players are determined to have a clean sheet and are just determined to keep this run going. But that's my prediction. I'm never normally a big score person. I went 1-1 for Mönchengladbach game, but I'll go for 3-0. Probably we'll get beat 1-0. That's the way my score predictions go. But Cess, what do you think the score prediction would be, with your head or your heart, whichever way you want to go?
No, I'm gonna go for Desmond 2-2.
Oh, really? Whoa.
Yeah.
So you're thinking?
I think it's gonna open
Really?
up second half, and I think it's gonna open up second half, and I think you're gonna see a proper game second half. I reckon.
Really?
I don't think the first half will not
there's a
be.
chance
First half won't be all that, but second half it will open up. I reckon.
That's
There's a chance of
interesting. Considering how miserly we've been in defence and very, very mean in defence, and hardly conceded anything. 2 goals against us. That's a good shout. It's a good shout. I wonder what the odds are on that one. But anyway, 2-2, you reckon? Well, we'll see. But anyway, on to loads of people have put their comments in here about their scores. We've got 4-0 for City, 3-0. Great show, 3-0 to City. We've got Kamazat Wolf 4-0. Will Lassiel Blur's on? How are you, mate? Will not concede. Ivor thinks it's going to be 3-0. 2-1 to City, 4-0. Let Love lead. Man City 4-0. West Ham, guys, let's not bother ourselves much, because Man City's definitely winning all trophies this season and then defend them back to back to back to back. Doubters mark my words. They must be some strong medication. Let Love lead. Anyway, yeah, there you go. Adam Quinn 5-0 City. Bill Sterling, Sergio Diaz, even calling out the scorers here. 4-0 says Lassiel Blur. Steve Dempston says a late 1-0 could be. Charlie thinks we are not conceding 2 goals. Well, it's got to come to an end at some point. It has to. That's the thing. But 3-0. We've got 5-0. No. Ross, one of our presenters, is on at 1-0. Guess who?
Gabby one goal.
Gabby 1 goal. Absolutely. Badrul Islam says 1-0 City. He thinks it's tight. Leonard thinks it's going to be 4-1. Ivor says City do not concede in second half games. That might change tomorrow as well.
They nearly did on Wednesday night with Rodri's pass.
Well, we nearly did. Jukebox Duce says, thinking another 2-0 solid defence, and West Ham will be very strong. There you go. So, right, Cess, you guys, any questions to us before we go? We've got about 10 minutes left. So any questions to us about Man City that you want to ask us? And I'll let the guys take the floor.
Yeah, I'll fire away one. What do you think is more likely going to happen? The treble or the quadruple?
More likely.
Yeah.
We're City fans. We're all City. Well, most of us. Kurt's a bit younger than us, but he's still an old school thinking City fan. I don't even think we think about trebles and quadruples personally, but you might see a lot of the Twitter art. He might go on about it, but not proper old school City fans. But go on then. Kurt, treble or quadruple?
Well, for me, it all comes down to one thing, and it is beating Spurs and making sure we get that cup.
Caravan Cup.
Yeah, I don't want to lose to Spurs, mate. Nah. As long as we win the League Cup, mate, I'm a happy bunny. We're probably most likely going to win the league, mate. And I'm like we've said many times, I'm really not asked about the Champions League. If we win it, cool. If not, whatever, innit? It's no big deal.
Yeah.
So the question was treble or quadruple?
Either, mate.
Either. Right, Chris?
Yeah, the only doubles, trebles, and quadruples I'm concerned about is what's going in my glass, Andy, as you know. I am like if we win the league, I'll be happy. I'm not bothered about Champions League anyway, as you know.
Yeah.
And it'd be great to. I don't want to lose to Spurs and to Jose, but I think if I'm honest, the quad's never been done, and I think it'll take something exceedingly special to do it. So, if anything, we're more likely to do a treble, but I would be happy with a double if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Alan?
I'll take the League Cup long as we beat Spurs and the winning the league as the priority. I don't care about the UEFA FA Cup. I just don't care about it. If we win it, I'll be over the moon because we need to win it. And the FA Cup, well, I'll take it or leave it, to be honest with you. But I don't think the quadruple or the treble is on, to be honest with you. I don't think that's going to happen.
Thanks, Joshua King. You're our 95th viewer. Smashing it, guys. Thank you. Well, I'd rather go to some of the others. The league and beating Spurs will do for me. One game at a time. West Ham tomorrow. Absolutely. Ivor says, I remember being told LFC, Spuds, Everton will be strong too. West Ham will not see the ball and will have to work tirelessly for 90+ minutes. No chance. Ross Evans says, love that we are ruining football. Carl, hope West Ham make the top 4 and do well after tomorrow. Ronnie says they're definitely bigger than quads. Chris Baker. I don't know. If you've ever watched our channel, Premier League all day long, and I think we've still got a long way to go. But I'm hopeful with the way we're playing at the moment that we can at least scrape over the line, if not win it by 20 points. So I'm saying the Premier League for me all day long, always will be. The Champions League, we've discussed it to death on the channel, and a lot of old school City fans are not bothered about Champions League. I think it's a ruined cup. It's just a cup competition like the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, and you can't have 4 teams from each league being in it and nonsense. I mean, we said it the other night. If you've got a final with Spurs and Liverpool, neither of which at the time had won the Premier League in 85 years. How can you call it a Champions League? It's absolute nonsense. It's just a money-making thing for UEFA. So until they go back to the original format and it's a European Cup where the champions of every single league play each other, that's the true determinator of who wins in Europe. So for me, I hope we beat Spurs. I hope we win the FA Cup.
I hope you do too.
I'll be happy with a domestic treble. Of course, the Premier League gets all the haters off your back. You've never won a European Cup and that type of thing. So, yeah, maybe I'm not that fussed. If we win another treble, it'd be phenomenal. Domestic treble for me. But I'll be happy with the Carabao Cup and the Premier League again. I'll be happy with it. Yeah, I think the club and Pep want the Champions League for obvious reasons. But as a fan, I'm not that fussed if we win the Champions League or not. I'd like us to win it. Just say we've won one, and for Pep and for the owner more than anything. Not for me. I'm not that fussed, if I'm honest. But there you go. There's your answer. Any others?
Fair enough.
Have you got any other questions, Cess?
Yeah, I've got. Well, you basically answered it right. I said, is your squad better now than it was like a couple of seasons back? But I think you've already gone through it. I think you kind of.
I don't know whether it is or it isn't. I'll be honest with you. We've got a very, very strong squad at the moment. Very strong. Is it as good?
No, it's not.
I'm not. I'm like that with it. I'll be honest with you. I am like that. I mean, ask the guys, Kurt.
Well, I think there's two things to look at. It's basically now and then when we won a domestic treble. The thing is, we had Sergio pretty much all the time. We had Vinny, we had David Silva. We had all these players, but we also had the players we have now that were 2 or 3 years back in their development. So these players have developed into the squad that we have now. I'm really happy with the progression we're going, but no, I don't think it's better man for man if you were just to look at it man for man.
So you don't think it's better than the 17-18 squad?
No,
Chris?
not man for man.
I think it's a really tough call. I think we're better defensively.
Yeah.
John Stones
I
has
can agree with that. Yeah.
come to the party, and Diaz has been a massive introduction to the team. I mean, we all love Vinny, obviously, but Vinny didn't play that often towards the end of his career with us. And we've really missed his leadership more than anything else. And I think Diaz is bringing that to the team. But Leroy Sané, we've never replaced him. I don't know if you can replace Leroy. And there's no way you can replace David Silva. So those two, for me, are genuine world-class players. And I think what we've got now, if anything, is a team, more of a team ethic. And we have a squad of players at the minute who just seem to be all competing for the shirt. And I can't say that there's anybody at the minute at City who's out of form, other than maybe Ben Mendy. That's because he never gets to play. So I think we probably had a stronger 11 back in when we won the treble. But as a squad, we are very, very strong. And I think we're in a very fortunate position in the fact that Pep's sort of rotation is working. We haven't played a lot of games this season, 3 days, none of the game. And his calls seem to be working. And players like Zinchenko have come to the party. There's some sort of players who are on the periphery of the squad who've really done well. And Cancelo coming in. Cancelo's been a completely different player this season. So it's a good question, that.
It is a very good question. Ross is saying, walking dog, this is in Melbourne. He's another Mank who lives in Melbourne now with Alan. Not actually with Alan, though sometimes we do. Walking the dog, he's just shut on a rag. Just needs to find a dipper now. 19 degrees at 9:30 in the morning. There you go. What else have we got? I'd just be happy with the League Cup, but my prediction of the treble is what I hope for. There you go, Sean. Somebody, the Hammers is on. There you go. Somebody's a fan, a West Ham fan. Yeah, I don't know. I think I agree with the guys. It's a little bit between two. I'm going to come to you in a second, Alan. I agree that there's we are better in certain areas than we have been in the past, and I actually think I personally, if I had to go one way or the other rather than sitting on the fence, I actually think the squad is better, ever so slightly. But I do think that there are certain areas that we're missing out on. If you look at the forward line of previous title-winning teams, Balotelli, Tevez, Aguero, etc., Sane, I think they possibly were better. But it's a difficult one. It's a great question, one we've not even thought about. Alan?
I think the squad we've got now is better balanced throughout the team. I think Chris hit the nail on the head. When we won the treble, defensively, and it showed up when we had a poor season last year, as soon as we had players injured in the defence of our main defence, the players that were coming in weren't good enough. Okay? Now our defence is a different quality. You've got, obviously, Diaz has made a huge difference. He's taken Vinny's position. Okay? John Stones has got his confidence back. Then you've got Laporte to come in, and who would have thought Laporte will be fighting for a position in the City team?
Yeah.
And you've got Aki to come back in, who, when he has played this season because of his injuries, he's been brilliant. He hasn't even put a foot wrong. So we've got a squad of centre halves there that are very, very good. If you had to pick any weaknesses, you'd probably say left full back, but that seems to be sorting itself out. But going forward, I don't think it's as strong as it was in the treble-winning season. You can't replace David Silva, best player we've ever had at the club. End of story. And we've got Foden to come in, who's still learning in his position. He plays more out wide than he does what David did. But players have stepped up. KDB's still a wonderful player. And up front, we've played this season without a centre forward. If you're looking at how many times Gavi's played, and Sergio hasn't played at all, he's played 70 minutes in a year. That's how much he paid, Sergio. So we've been playing the false nine, and it seems to be working. But how long we can keep doing that, is questionable. We'll see. But I would say treble winning side better going forward, but not as good as the back as it is now. Our back is a lot better now than going forward in treble season. So I think it's more balanced, but that's all it is. It's not better or worse. Yeah.
Well, we've got, I don't know whether this is a fake count or not, but also what you think about Declan Rice, 100 million, you can have him, says Hammers.
I'd take him right now.
You want to get?
I know you.
I'd take him right. I would. Yeah.
You want to get rid of your future? Certainly, and this is the problem. This is the problem in Cess, is that when you're doing well, and somebody, it depends on the owners. Somebody comes in with a 100 million bid for Declan Rice, because let's face it, if you can, if a club can spend 85 million for a fridge in Harry Maguire, then Declan Rice is worth 160 million, in my opinion, because it's the market as it stands at the moment. But Chris is saying Hammers 70 million plus Mahrez and Mendy. Mendy, there you go. So Chris is quite happy to get rid of Mahrez and Mendy, and 70 million for Declan Rice. He is a Declan Rice fan. He loves Declan Rice. He's here in the background now. He's like nodding his head, going, yeah. Have you got any final questions for us before we sort of take a break and move on to the next bit, Cess?
I've been hearing this one player's name been floating about. A certain guy he plays for Dortmund, named Haaland.
Oh yes. Reckon,
Here we go.
What are the chances of you getting him?
It's one of those questions, and I'll let the guys answer it in depth. It's one of those questions that we don't know. None of us know. We really don't know, unless you're on the inside. It's people will claim this, and articles will claim that, and blah blah blah. We spoke about Haaland and the thing on the vlog the other night, and I think one of the things I said was I was listening to a vlog, and there were a source was saying that Dortmund are quite happy to sell him in the summer, for 100 million if somebody came in, because they're not. His goal to game ratio is the same as last season, but everything else has dropped off a cliff. He's become very selfish. It's just about him. He's got Mino Raiola as his agent. City don't like Mino Raiola. So is he the best player at the moment? His age, probably. I don't know. I really don't know. That's the question. I don't know. Would I be happy with him? Probably, but it's not about what City fans want. It's what Pep Guardiola and the board want. That fits into Manchester City. But very quickly, Kurt.
With the very, very elite transfers, it's basically like selling a house. You've got to make sure all the links and chains. If one person falls out, say for example, Real Madrid don't get Mbappe because they get Pogba instead, and then Mbappe stays there. There's knock-on effects that happen around. So I think it's just a case of if things work out, he'll probably end up here. But I'm not exactly. I don't think it's nailed on or anything like that. Dortmund are like they're going to just say who wants him, and then it's just going to be a case of does he decide to go where it's going to be best for his footballing career, or does he try to choose the best financial package that he can get? Because I don't think the best financial package.
If that rumor is true from Duncan Castles, that they are willing to sell him because of things, his character and everything else in the summer, even it's a year early, it'll be the Wild West. And Dortmund are in a brilliant position, and that's why they're so good at getting players cheap and getting them out the door at a decent price. And they can just sit back and relax because every team will go for him. They might not have the money, but every team will go. All the big teams will go for him, and there's only probably one or two teams in world football that can pay the rumoured money that he wants. Yeah. So, Alan, Haaland.
I wouldn't say no to him, but we are competing with. I think it's about 4 or 5 clubs, to be honest with you. Who'll pay the wages.
Yeah.
And I think I don't want to really enter a bidding war if it starts. Because that's one thing that Pep and City have never done. They've never gone, As soon as it starts a bidding war, they go, see you later. Yeah. If he wants to play, Pep wants players who wants to play for us. And if they don't, see you later. And there will be alternatives. There's that lad from João Felix at Atletico Madrid I quite like, to be honest with you. I think he's more suited to the way Pep plays. I personally think they'll probably look at him as an alternative. And there's other players out there that we'll be surprised that we can get. But the bottom line is no one will replace Sergio or the type of player that Sergio is. And I think the fans have got to understand that. They have the arguments about Gabi Jesus about he's not Sergio. We'll never find another Sergio. It's not going to happen. So we just have to go with what is best for the team at the time. Sergio's been a freak. End of story.
Chris?
I don't think we will get Haaland. That's my honest opinion. I think it will come to a bidding war, and City will just pull out. I don't think we will pay ridiculous wages or a huge transfer fee for him. I know that might come as a bit of a surprise to fans from other teams, but we do. I don't. They just won't do it. And to me, he's a great player. A great striker. Let's put it that way. But he's no Kylian Mbappe, and I would pay double what we paid for Mbappe for Mbappe. I think he's a generational player. He's a superb player. So no, the Minarola stuff I think is one thing, but I just don't, like everyone said, there'll be a lot of teams coming for him, and I think if United come in, they'll pay huge money for him, and I think City will just say, "Nah, sod that. We're not do that."
Yeah, they will. Yeah, and we spoke about it on a couple of vlogs back a week ago, and we were talking about the whole of the rumours. I said it a few weeks ago on here that the rumours were £400,000 a week he wants. Well, that breaks the whole wage structure of Man City. And we've got Kevin De Bruyne in contract talks at the moment, and he's the highest paid player on allegedly $325 a week. And then you got Sterling not far behind him, Aguero and all these players. Well, if Haaland at such a young age comes in on that money, well, Kevin De Bruyne should, and rightly so, be on at least 100 grand more than he is. So you're talking about 500 grand a week for Kevin De Bruyne. City are never going to pay that. We are such a profitable club now and well run. The money we make, which a lot of opposition fans don't realise, is that we are self-sustaining. We have no debt. We have nothing, and haven't done for the last couple of years. We generate our own income, and that's because of a good business model. And City won't break it. They won't break it. Now they might do for maybe an Mbappe, but you're talking about an exceptional player. But the rumours are Mbappe's going to Real Madrid anyway and be the highest paid player in world football after Messi and Ronaldo leaves. But I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. It's going to be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
Since you've only paid 65 million maximum.
That's our biggest transfer.
That's our biggest transfer. There's a lot of players in the Premier League that have been brought to for a lot higher than that. And City are not even in the top 20.
No,
I don't know.
People don't realise that.
But I think the thing there, Alan, is you've just asked to get João Felix, mate, and there's no way he's leaving Atletico from Madrid.
Yeah.
Anything less than they bought him for.
I know. But what do we do? We've never paid over 65 million for anyone.
We might go and get Antonio, and Pep will turn him into.
You just go get my boy Valverde. I just want to so badly. One day.
Well, we can always get Suchek and Antonio, and we can,
I'm not hearing it. Not entertaining.
Well, listen. This brings us to the end of the Friday Night Social Part 1 preview with Cess and the guys over on West Ham United. And I want to say a massive thank you to Cess for coming on. I really appreciate it, buddy.
Cheers for having me on. Thank you.
Thanks for coming on, mate.
You've been a star. And you can find the link to their YouTube channel. Go over and whatever you do, make sure you subscribe to it. And appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Maybe you will. maybe you will be that team that stops this run, because I know a lot of the journalists can't wait for it to happen, and then yeah, you'll be David Moyes will be the next sort of pre-nuptial signing at Manchester City as the next Man City manager when Pep leaves, because he was the one. Yeah, the chosen one. Yeah, it's been brilliant talking to you. It's going to be a good game. I know it will be a good game. It always is a good game against West Ham. But there you go. Ross says, Cess, top geezer. There you go. Ronnie says, cheers, Cess. Good luck for the rest of the season after tomorrow. Man like Cess, says Tyrone. Cess, thanks for coming on, says Lassiel Blur. Later, Cess says Ivor. Lara says, hope West Ham leapfrog the ranks end of the season. See us. Loads of comments on here anyway. But thanks for coming on, Cess. That's the end of part
Thank
one.
You, appreciate
it. You're more than welcome. That's the end of part one for the Friday Night Social. You will be able to catch this particular vlog tomorrow at some point, which we're going to move on after a quick break, and we're going to come back. Stay on. Don't log off. We're just going to put a screenshot up, and we'll be back in about 3-4 minutes, where we're going to talk all about Man City. And we've got some great questions from Kurt, Alan, and Chris that we're going to get into anyway. But Seth, take care, buddy. Maybe I'll be tweeting your channel tomorrow afternoon. Let's hope it's. Sorry about that.
May the best team win. Cheers, boys.
Absolutely. Well, take care, guys.
Or draw.
I'll draw. Yeah. We'll be back. We'll be back. Okay, and we'll see you soon.
Cheers.
There you go. We're going to go for a quick break. We'll be back in about 3-4 minutes. Chris is going to go and fill up his glass. With his again, and we'll be back in about 3-4 minutes. Don't go anywhere. We're not coming off this stream. We're just going to put a little bit of a screenshot up here, and we'll be back. Toilet break, drink break, and we've got some great, very interesting questions to talk about Manchester City. But we will see you shortly. Hi guys, we are back for part 2 of the Friday Night Social, and this is where we get into the Man City stuff. And hopefully, the guys will have had their pee break and topped up their glasses. And yeah, let's bring them back. So Kurt's back on. So is Alan, and there you go. Surprise, surprise, he's changed it up. That's a nice top, actually. I quite like that, mate.
Yeah, that's a good 1972, 73, third kit.
Yeah, it's my.
And because it was Colin's birthday today. Well,
there you go.
Whoa, I've just demolished it.
Sir Alan Bean, we're going to call him from now on.
Yeah, fucking Frank Spencer.
Yes, absolutely.
I've just pulled off the mic. I pulled it out. It's gone everywhere. Well, there we go. Comedy hour.
You all right? You all right now, Frank? You okay? Hey?
Yeah, all sorted. Don't worry. Nice top, though.
Oh, love him.
Yeah, it's a great top. I mean, that stripe, that red and black on the white kit and everything. That's one of my favourite all-time kits. Back from the 70s.
I love the black. I love the black and red away one.
Yeah, I mean that's my. I've always said that's my favourite
away one. Yeah,
I'd
the spuds. Oh, opening day.
I'd absolutely love City Puma to go back and do a red and black striped. Kit again. I love it absolutely.
That kit.
There you go. Ronnie says the donkey. Don't know what's in. There you go. Is that merch, Andy? What, this one? Not at the moment, mate, but it could be. We might be doing a merch range. Not just this one. This is an old one. This is years and years when we first set up the channel. But we might be doing some quite tasty stuff maybe on the channel. But you'll have to wait for that one. Didn't know they did that too in FM. I don't know what that's in reference to. Happy birthday to King Colin. Yeah. It was yesterday, wasn't it?
Yesterday,
75. I think he would have been. Rest in peace, the legend. But anyway, we are moving on. We've got 3 questions. Kurt, Chris, and Frank Spencer are going to.
Change the name as well.
There you go. I've got some brilliant questions for tonight, and there's also the poll. Which is surrounding the one that Alan's going to come to, and he's going to ask that question. But first up tonight is Kurt, and it's all about Bernardo and Kevin De Bruyne. So while I change Alan's name back to where it is, Kurt, what is your question tonight?
The main principle of my question is obviously at the beginning of the season we saw Kevin De Bruyne playing quite high up the pitch and Bernardo not featuring as much, and obviously since Kevin De Bruyne had his injury, I believe it was the 21st of January, we've seen Bernardo basically fill in every single game. The question is the system going to change slightly when Kevin De Bruyne comes back, or how are we going to set up? Are we going to slightly change our midfield setup? Because obviously we've been seeing Bernardo playing a little bit deeper, allowing Cancelo to move on, and Gundogan playing higher up the pitch. So does that mean we're going to push Bernardo over to the left of the midfield to rest Gundogan, and then KDB plays midfield? I just want to know the dynamics of the change, because obviously we've been such an imperious form. What people's opinions are, because obviously we know that Cancelo and Bernardo Silva seem to have a fantastic relationship, and whether Cancelo's role's going to change slightly with Kevin De Bruyne being put in the midfield. So it was more of a holistic thing, more so than just a question of where Kevin, a simple question is where Kevin's going to be featuring in our team this season.
Interesting. Who do you want to ask first?
Oh, I'll go to Alan first, and the main thing I want to talk about is obviously it's more in where they're playing on the pitch, because both Kevin and Bernardo have been playing that right side of midfield, but play it in a very different way from my perspective. And what's your opinion of dropping him in, rotating him in, and how he's going to fit in?
At the moment, Bernardo has to be on the pitch for me. I think he's He's a high energy player. He's back to the form he showed a few years ago when he won the Player of the Year. At the moment, I think you've got to get him on the pitch. For me, KDB plays in a deeper role. I just think he's more. He provides more assists. He provides more passes in that position. I think when he's thrown too far further forward in that false nine, I think it stifles him. To be honest with you, you're right in that right side of midfield. I think they can rotate that, but Bernardo can play on the right hand side. So can KDB if he needs to. The players move around now, and for me, I think you've got to get both of them on the pitch. I think Gundogan plays as well. I just think you've got to utilise it. There is times now, I think, where you might not have to play Sterling, or you might not have to play Mahrez on that right hand side. But if you're looking at it now, there isn't a player that City have got in their squad that's playing badly, apart from Mendy, and that's down to his injury. That's nothing to do with anything else. But there isn't a player that's really out of form, I don't think. So whoever plays at the moment, to me, they're doing well. And we can't really whinge, to be honest with you. But I prefer KDB in a deeper role. Bernardo can play anywhere in that midfield area or out wide if he needs to, and he will still do really, really well. They're fortunate at the moment that whatever they're doing seems to be working. You'll see from my question later. We can have a debate on that one, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, because as I said, like, we had a lot of problems in the early sort of game of the season, and I think a lot of City fans will have, like, sort of that. Pep said it himself after the West Brom game. We sort of changed, and that's when we started to really unleash Cancelo. And even when Cancelo was playing in the team, I went and looked back at all this. Kevin De Bruyne was playing so much higher up the pitch, and Cancelo was having to sort of do a bit of more of a fullback role than the role we've seen him play over the last 2 months. And I think the role we've seen him play over the last 2 months is by and large in part to Bernardo. And I just was wondering whether the balance of our squad might be tipped in a different direction, with obviously Kevin De Bruyne coming back in, and that moves.
I think at the start of the season we were still struggling to find a centre half. We didn't have Diaz at the start, and because of that, we seemed the same as end of last season, where we were exposed at the back for me, totally. We didn't have a leader at the back. And ever since Diaz has turned up, the effect he's had not only on the back four, but everybody else in the team and the squad, to me, is enormous. I think he's the driving force behind everything. I really do believe that. Rodri's form has improved because of him, without any shadow of a doubt. Stone's form has improved with him. The fullbacks have definitely improved with him there. The whole setup with him there, not just being on the pitch, but also being around the change rooms. He's got that Vinny leadership quality, and that to me is the huge thing. But that's I think that's been the effect on the team, to be honest with you. He's making them give 150%. He's making them, the quality's lifted, the attitude's lifted, everything.
Yeah, and Chris, I don't know what your thoughts are in terms of does Bernardo get pushed into different roles? Does Kevin get pushed into different roles? How do you think that? Obviously, every game's different, and we set up so differently for every game, but more as a holistic thing in regards to the Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva situation.
I think it's a really good question, actually, Kurt. I think this is something that's quite integral, really, to the end of our season, because I think since Kevin's been out, Bernardo has had such an influence on the way we've played. Yeah. And under Gundogan scored, a lot of goals in that period. But Bernardo has done an outstanding job, and he is back to his old self. And I don't think he's the same player on the right wing as when he is further in field. So it almost becomes, it's a battle between Bernardo and KDB for that position for me. And it's quite difficult, because for me, Kevin De Bruyne is my favourite player. He's the best player in the Premier League as far as I'm concerned. But Bernardo has been outstanding, and we all love Bernardo as well. He's another player that you cannot, dislike because the guy just works all the time, and he's always available for the ball. He very, very rarely gives it away. You know, he'll come back deep. He'll be on the right wing. He'll be on the left side of the midfield. He's one of those players who just seems to be a very intelligent player, and I think it's great that we've got him back in this sort of form. But I do fear that with Kevin coming back in, and it is hard not to play Kevin because he is such a good player. Whether Bernardo's influence might be lessened by the fact that Kevin's back in the team.
Would you, Chris? Would you prefer Mahrez or Bernardo on the right side? They're both playing well. They're both playing well.
Yeah, well, Riyad's played all right last 2 or 3 games to give him his due. Fair dues to him.
Yeah, they are.
I would say, I don't know if I'd have either of them on the right hand side if it was me. But I don't know. That's a really good question, Alan.
The reason why I'm asking that, when we won the treble, Bernardo played a lot of games on that right hand side.
Yeah, but the problem with that, Alan, is Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo basically swap. De Bruyne would be right wing for 10 minutes, and then Bernardo would be inside, and they switch. But
exactly.
The problem is we're changing at the back. We're basically playing in possession, three defenders, 2 holding midfielders, essentially. One of them being box to box, basically being Cancelo, right? So I think the big change is obviously Pep's asked the width to come from the wingers, where normally they'd be inside, and we're having inside being from our fullbacks. So that's what I was talking about, because I think for me, I looked at it. I think 2 options that we could do would be to rest/rotate Gundogan out, put Bernardo on the left side, have Cancelo play as the left back, and have them to have their have them still having that partnership, but you'd be on the left side of the field rather than the right side of the field. But that puts a problem in a headache in itself, because you're dropping one of the best form players in the team at the moment. So Gundogan. So I know it's just a case of selection headaches. It's more so a question of, it's so hard to change something that's working so well for us. And I just don't think Kevin De Bruyne offers the same things as Bernardo Silva in that position with regards to how we play at the moment. And I just fear that we might either see Kevin be stuck up as a false 9 all season, or be playing in midfield.
Do you like him as a false 9? Because I don't.
I've said for months I like Kevin De Bruyne deep. I think he plays better deeper, but that's Pep knows him way better than me. I did look at it. Kevin De Bruyne has the most shots of any player this season. He averages 3.3 shots a game. Which is 1.2 shots more than anyone else.
Could you see Kevin De Bruyne in a CDM role?
I think he's going to play a lot. I personally thought we might just move to a 3-4-3, or the diamond and Kevin at the top of the diamond, Gundogan and Cancelo either side, and Rodri just behind.
Yeah.
But there's so many options. It's the essence of the question is more so is what are we going to do? Because Kevin's, like Chris said, Kevin's our best player, and how do we fit him in the squad and still retain all of the great things that we've been doing over the last sort of 6 weeks? And I just think it's a really big question, because we're doing really well. The crunch games are coming up now, and the crunch games where the selection really boils down. I don't know what your viewpoint on it, Andy, is, or what you think of this situation, or in general.
I'd throw it back to you, because it's your question. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, like I said, I think Bernardo Silva is the best ball-carrying transition player we have at the club. I don't think there's anyone better picking it up from the defensive third and carrying it to the attacking third than any other player at City. I don't think it's even close, in my opinion. And him doing that allows, because when Cancelo goes forward, he just steps back and basically becomes like a right wing back pretty much, and just covers the space. And I think his attributes are better suited to that. I don't want to see Kevin De Bruyne having to trace at right wing back. I'd much rather it be Bernardo doing that, if that makes sense, you know? So I think that's where the issue is when you have Kevin in, is you're basically making him the legs of the midfield, when he's really should be the guy standing still and moving when he needs to, rather than running like a headless chicken all games. That's my issue with Kevin De Bruyne when he plays the position, because I don't doubt he has the quality to track back and the defensive attributes. It's more so we're losing his best attributes for that when Bernardo can do the defensive side just as well as Kevin.
Interesting. It is a very interesting question, but I'm still at a loss as to what is the question? Where are you going with the question?
It's more about crunch games.
Yeah.
Are we going to stop what we're doing in terms of our system to accommodate player selection?
Okay. Right. Okay.
Down into a sync point, I guess.
Okay. Well, you just mentioned some points there, which I think are very, very, because it's a brilliant, brilliant question. It's one that is probably not easy to answer. I think everyone will have their own opinions on favourite players and blah, 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 blah. And I just wrote some notes down while you asked the question. I was listening to the guys that were on here. And you mentioned there about ball carrying of Bernardo Silva. I mean, I love Bernardo Silva. I don't know a City fan that doesn't love Bernardo Silva. And I'm thinking, is there any way we can accommodate Bernardo Silva and Kevin De Bruyne into the same team?
We can, but it does
come at a cost. There will be a cost, but there will be a cost at all when whatever happens and whatever system will play. And my reply back to that question would be, what is the end game? What's the objective of dropping one over the other? You said about ball carrying.
Mm-hmm.
And if we take Bernardo Silva, like I said in the last week's Friday Night Social, I know he scored that wonderful hair flick header. The other got an assist as well, which was fantastic. Well, if I add those on to last week's statistics, he's now got an extra goal and assist this week. So Bernardo has got 5 goals and 5 assists so far this season in total. Kevin De Bruyne has got 15 assists. But he's only got 3 goals. All right, he's got 2 less than Bernardo. And is the buy-off the amount of... I mean, we only saw the ball. He only came on the pitch and we saw the ball through to Raheem Sterling, which he should have done better with the other night. And this is the conundrum. And I'm sure Pep has exactly the same conundrum, is that when you've got Kevin De Bruyne on the pitch, you know he is going to create probably 2, maybe 3 absolute clear opportunities for somebody every game. Every game.
He averages 2.5 key passes a game, and a key pass per game is a pass that leads to a chance. It's not just a free ball that nothing. Yeah. So that was a good guess by me, 2 to 3. So there you go, 2.5. So is you know, if you think we now have got the likes of Sergio Aguero back, and if he was to become fit and he was start playing more and things like that, is he the player that would convert one of those 2.5, 3, where others might not convert any of them, and somebody else has to create, or every now and then he will? I mean, obviously somebody's converting because he's got 15 assists, but what I'm saying is that I think there was a discussion a couple of months ago with regards to who plays with who on the wings and things, and I think that makes a difference as well. And I think it's a really difficult question to give a definitive answer to. Now, I was just writing down. I mean, you talked about players and the way that they've come back into form, like Todd Bernardo, who has now become where he was 2 years ago when he was player of the season. Well, we had the same with Walker. We had Walker last season, who was phenomenal. Now, all of a sudden, everyone's talking about Cancelo as this person. But we've got Rodri and Fernandinho, who both play in that central role. And other players can fill in, but mainly Rodri and Ferner. If we take the right hand, if we call them the number 8 role, KDB, Bernardo, Cancelo, and Mahrez could possibly play that role. If we take the number, let's call it a 10 for the sake of it, Foden, Gundogan, Cancelo, and Zinchenko could play that particular role. On the right, we've got Mahrez, Sterling, Bernardo, Torres. We've got up front Aguero, Torres, Gabby, Sterling. And that's not including if you want to play one of those in a false 9 and, you know, KDB or a Foden. And on the left, we've got Foden, Sterling, Torres, and Gabby, who could play that role on the left-hand side. I mean, it's just
We've got so many options.
Yeah, selection headache's a big issue.
And I'm going to just bring this up, and this was from earlier. Somebody made a comment on here, and this will be my final point on it, because I am not sure what the answer is. I'm really not, because it's such a difficult question. But Stephen Dempster said Cancelo cannot be dropped at the moment. Well, yes, he can.
Yeah.
He can be rested, like John Stones was, when John Stones shouldn't have been dropped, if it was dropped. When Laporte came in and played with Diaz, and Diaz has come out of the team, and somebody else has come in, and it's not about being dropped. It's about picking the right team for the right formation against the right opponents, and that's what Pep Guardiola is a genius at. And that might mean that even though Bernardo Silva is at the top of his game, Pep might not go like we say, shove him on the right hand side because he's great on the right. He might say, it's not right for this game. I want Kevin De Bruyne in this game. I want so-and-so. Likewise, he might say, I don't want Kevin De Bruyne in this game. I want Bernardo Silva for that ball carrying purposes and things. Such difficult. But this is what Pep has to deal with so many good players. It's not like many managers who just go, well, he's the best player we've got in that position. Right? He's a guaranteed shoo-in.
Reality of our actual problem is we've not actually got a best 11. We've got a best 25.
Yeah, exactly that.
About this is when it comes to it, and just say FA Cup final, whatever, League Cup final, only 11 players get to start. And he's obviously going to make the selection of what he thinks the best thing to do is for the system that we're going to play. Obviously, we can rest Cancelo, play Zinchenko as basically a left 8 and have Kevin De Bruyne on the right, Bernardo on the right wing. We've got 20,000 different options. If I went into I should go and try and calculate the probability of a correct lineup at some point, given the number of players we have in the positions. But like I said, I just think that we might find ourselves getting to a point where it comes to the really crunch games and Pep is going to have to make really the decision of where he wants the creation to be from. Is it going to be from Cancelo or is it going to be from Kevin De Bruyne? Because the reality is, game after game, they're our most creative players in the team, them two.
Yeah, but is there not a reason to say that we can accommodate both?
Yeah, like I said, we can play the 4-3-4 and have a diamond in the middle, Cancelo playing on the right, Gundogan on the left, Rodri just behind, Kevin just in front, and then our normal front three, and then have like Laporte, Stones, and Diaz at the back.
Well, I'll tell you what, here's another alternative, considering that the age of Gundogan and his injuries and things like that and how great he's been and blah, blah, blah. Is it not time to rest him and play Cancelo in that inside role and occupy the role of Gundogan?
Yeah, and then have Bernardo on the left side.
Play Kevin De Bruyne.
That's the only solution that I could come up with. It's feasible, but like I said, it comes at dropping Gundogan out, which, like I said, I always say, whatever Pep's 11, I trust her. I'm not too bothered. I just think it's going to come to it. It will come to a head because at the end of the day, when it comes to these finals, we can only pick 11 players, and getting it right is one game.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very, very difficult question to answer. It really, really is. And you can see people here have all got their opinions on, what they think.
I think the main comments that a lot of the people in the comments are talking about rotation, but my point isn't about rotation. I understand.
No.
When it comes to it's just the one game left. That one game we've got to play. That's what I'm talking about. That's when decision in the starting 11 becomes so hard.
Yeah. I agree.
I think in that circumstance, you've got to trust Pep, haven't you?
I'm not certain.
There's no reason why you wouldn't. But I think that Bernardo is one of those players who is better at smothering the opposition than KDB is.
Yeah, I agree.
He's, as you say, he's great at transitioning the ball through, but he doesn't create the chances that Kevin creates. So it's a tough call because they both do very important jobs when they're on the field. Very different jobs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great question, Kurt, I think, and it's a hard one to sort of really
discuss the answer because none of us are going to have the answers. It's just about
of course not.
We can have, like I said, we could have Cancelo playing as the left back and have Bernardo on the left side. They still have their link up, but it always comes at the expense of one player. I think that's the most exactly think if I was to say like we had a final tomorrow, I think it would be the Cancelo on the left side, Bernardo on the left side, Kevin on the right, and Gundogan to get dropped. That's just the way I think it would happen. But we've got so many options, and it is so difficult to pick the 11. That's what our squad does so good in these league systems, and Pep's always done this so well in league formats because the ability to rotate and be consistent, he's always had there. But that's where it always comes into the knockout games or the one-off games. It's a completely different kettle of fish.
It is. It's a very difficult question, and it's not a question that we decide what's going to happen. In Man City, that's for Pep, and that's why he's the genius that he is. But it's very interesting. It is so difficult because, as I said, it's not like other squads where you're going, well, I mean, this guy has got to play. You've got to play him because he's the best. We have got, well, this guy's got to play. Hold on a minute. Oh, well, yeah, but hold on a minute. This guy's got to play because he brings this. Yeah, I know, but Kevin De Bruyne brings 15. Yeah, well, hold on a minute. Then you've got Phil Foden, who's got far more goals and assists than Bernardo Silva, and we've got this.
Most other clubs only argue between one or two players in a position.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bailly or Lindelof? Is it Thiago or Wijnaldum? These are the debates they have. We have who the hell's going to play? Because we only know, for me, 3 players that are always going to play with their fit is like Diaz, Eddie, and Raz. They're the 3 people that I don't think Pep would ever. It'd take him anywhere he goes, mate. I think he loves them all that much.
Yeah, it's a brilliant question, but wow, I mean that just shows you how far Man City have come, doesn't it? When we're talking, I mean I've just named you there 1, 2, 3, 4. I've named you about 10 players that could play in 10 different positions on the pitch, and you wouldn't be disappointed with any of them playing in any of the positions on the pitch. It's phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And maybe that's why we are so strong at the moment. But one thing's for certain, Kevin De Bruyne, for me, is the best midfielder in football.
Breath the next few games to see how he develops and what systems he decides to use and if there's any particular changes, because I'll be really interested to keep an eye on it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But what we've also got is Bernardo Silva, who's now coming back to some serious form, and we know what that guy brings when he's anywhere close to his best, and he is phenomenal. So what a great question and what a great conundrum for Pep Guardiola. That's why he gets paid 15 to 20 million pounds a year for that, we get a packet of Cadbury's buttons, and that's us at Man City Fan TV. But anyway, great question, Kurt. Really interesting. And like I said, it's one of those that normally, I think each week when we have questions, we go, yeah, well, this is my opinion, but it's such a difficult one. I don't think there is a...
But like I said to you, the next 5 or so games deciding, I think that's where Pep's going to use the league to basically figure out how he wants to go for the rest of the cup competition. So I think we're getting to that point where we've got enough points where we can start easing a little bit if the fixtures need it be, I
think Andy Blumen's just said there, I think Moyes called Pep Heston Blumenthal due to many tactics he produces and called himself Gordon Ramsay.
Was that because they both wiped the credit card on the forehead?
Yeah, it's just brilliant. This team is well capable of beating Bayern. Wow, we've been drawn against Bayern, Carl Buxton, but we are definitely. I think most people, most neutrals, and most pundits and people I've listened to and things like that all think that right now on form we are the best team in Europe. But it won't make a blind bit of difference unless Pep picks the right team for the right match on the night, and we get a little bit of luck, and all the players pull it out, because that's what needs to happen if you want to go on a Champions League run. I think the league, we are so strong because we can rotate, and I think that rotation policy with such an in-depth squad is phenomenal. So I don't know, but we're going to move on to the next question, and this is from Chris, and this is about flexibility and squad rotation, which might have piggyback Kurt.
Well, it's a bit of a continuation. I don't know if it's so much as a question as a debate, really.
Yeah,
and after a bit of a slow start to the season, but since the beginning of this run, we've seen City have a resurgence. We've seen a different City team to the winning years under Pep, but definitely a resurgence. We've gone 26 unbeaten, 19 wins in a row, and a ridiculous amount of clean sheets. And in the last 17 league games, this is the last 17 league games, you've got to get this into your head. We've let in 4 goals.
It's crazy.
It's
4
madness.
goals in 17 games in the league. That is, to me, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But and a squad, when whoever's playing seems to come in and put in a performance. Now, we can look back at the Gladbach match and say, well, Raz didn't have a good game, and I don't think Gabby was that great. But these players, Raz especially, the 3 games before that was contended for man of the match in all 3. So, you know, he's a consistent performer, and they all are whenever they're playing. And there's the obvious Ruben Diaz effect, no doubting about his effect on this team. But we're flexible on the pitch in terms of formation, and Pep's squad rotation is paying dividends. So I guess I'm asking who or what has stood out for you guys this season? And I'll go to Alan because he's been quiet for a long time.
What stood out for me this season?
I'm going to leave you just for 5 minutes. I'll let you continue. I'm just going to take my dog out. I'll be back in 1 second.
I personally think that the biggest difference between City at the start of the season and last year and the year before, and I touched on it before, is the defence. Suddenly we now don't look like conceding goals. We guys want to concede goals, but we don't look like conceding goals, which is a big thing, okay?
On that, Alan, just before I go off that, but they're going to just make a point there. A lot of the times this season, we're playing with 3 at the back.
Yeah, we're playing with 3 at the back when we've got the ball, but when we haven't got the ball, we're going at 4 at the back. So,
but it's not always the fullback who's coming back, is it? You're relying on Rodri sometimes to fill in a position there.
You're relying on Rodri or Bernardo's filling the positions, especially if Cancelo's playing on the right hand side. So Bernardo can do that well, and he's proven he can. The actual flexibility and the fluidity of the team is a lot different. But the main point of it is that for the first time since 2010, in my opinion, we've got a defence now that looks solid. Up until this year, even when Vinny was there, we were always liable to concede goals. Okay, you'd probably say Mancini's team sorted it out, but we didn't have the talent that we've got there now. Our defence is a lot more solid. We don't look open at all at the moment, and that is the biggest difference, I think, between City at the start of the season and last year to what it is today. And when you play against the big sides in Europe, the big sides in the Premier League, all of a sudden, try to say every time we played Liverpool or Man U when United were good, you used to be worried when the opposition got the ball because you weren't quite sure if we were capable of keeping them out, especially Liverpool. Okay, but now I don't worry anymore. I don't worry anymore unless Rodri passes a stupid pass like he did on Wednesday night and got away with it. But that's only ourselves to blame if we do things like that. But overall, it's got to be the defence that's made the difference. It's got to be. Because we can win 1-0 now and not worry about if we score 1 goal. You know, how many times we're winning 1-0 and we are just controlling the game in the second half and you're not worried. You're not worried. Not the way we were the year before that, where, you know, if it's just 1-0, you are worried that the opposition are going to score.
Do you put that solely down to Diaz?
I think I think 2 things. Number one thing is his influence on the team and his influence on the players off and on the pitch is huge. Okay, on the pitch when he's playing, he's more of a defender than he is a John Stones type football. I'll put it that way. He does the simple things. He clears it when he needs to clear it. But his influence on everybody else around him is, to me, is huge. He's absolutely huge.
Okay,
he's only 23.
But I agree with you that the defence is probably the main area that we can look at as an improvement. But another area that's kind of interesting, Alan, is the attack, because we haven't played with a striker much this season, and we haven't got many players on, double figure goals yet this season. 25 games in.
Well, that touches on my question, which we're going to ask in a bit.
Okay.
But there's goals are coming from all around for me, from all over the pitch. Because we're not playing with a striker, we are playing a different way. Okay, but we've been forced into that. We've been forced into that because of injuries. Sergio's been out for 12 months, for God's sake. He played about 90 minutes or whatever it is this season in all games. So we've been forced into playing a different type of football, and we're not relying on a number one striker or number 9, if you want to call it that, anymore. So the goals are coming from all over. If you remember the start of the season, we were all debating here, and every City fan was exactly the same back home and all over the world. They're all saying, hang on, what's going on here? We need to buy. Even though we're not allowed to buy during the season, we have to buy a striker. Because Sergio was out, we're all panicking, thinking that's it, he's finished. And we weren't scoring goals in the first 15 games. We were not scoring. We were winning 1-0. We weren't scoring goals. We weren't even creating a lot of chances. And we were all worried about that, even though we're winning 1-0. And we were winning games. It was a case of we're not creating anything. And I remember having an argument with you, Chris and Andy, about that very thing on this channel, that we weren't creating. But Pep has found a solution. After the Spurs game, apparently there was a massive, not ding-dong, but debate in the changing rooms where players had their say about what was going wrong and why we weren't creating and why we weren't, dominating games as we should. We were keeping possession, but we weren't creating anything. Mm-hmm. I think Pep's sat back and thought of a solution. How can we create more chances? I'm sure you remember what that time when this was happening. But he came back with a solution, and so all of a sudden we started creating and having men in the box when beforehand we were getting one person in the box. Now we're getting 3 or 4 or 5 people in the box when we get there. And we were trying to walk it in rather than we're still doing that now. We did it on Wednesday night. We're trying to walk the ball in, and that's when City tend to struggle. Is when they do that. They don't shoot outside the box when they need to.
Cheers, mate.
I do think the defense has been the main crux of where we are the difference, because we don't even look like it. There is going to be a game when we do. That's bound to happen. Everyone's human, but overall, this is the first time I think we've got a great chance of winning the Champions League, is because all of a sudden we don't look like conceding. We'll get tested against the big teams like Bayern Munich and people like that. We will get tested.
Yeah, I would agree totally, because I think there were times against Mönchengladbach where if we were playing at Bayern Munich, we would have maybe been a bit more trouble. Kurt, what's your feelings, mate?
Well, I think obviously the defence, the players we've brought in are obvious ones to go for. But I think the single biggest factor in terms of our improvement and consistency is Pep changing from using our width from our fullbacks to our width with our wingers. I think it's probably the most understated change he's done, because everyone talks about the Cancelo swap. Yeah. But the reality is we defend narrow now. So when it goes out wide, we have players there that can actually cover the half space and don't leave the centre exposed. Because what we saw previously was whoever be the 2, if that ball goes over that left channel, that left-sided centre-back's getting dragged so wide, the right-sided centre-back's gets pulled in, and there's no one at the back post. And if they can get the ball in, it's easy goal every time. But what we've been doing now is we put that 3, whether it's Kyle Walker, Laporte, Stones, Diaz, whatever 3, we stick that 3. The 2 in front of them are compact, so we have that 5-man block, and we just defend so well because of that. And it's all down to the change, because we all know Pep's mainly, he always talks about his fullbacks and how much he likes his fullbacks, but he's really changed it this season. it's all down to that width on the wings for me, Chris.
Yeah. Andy?
What was the question?
Oh, damn it.
Well,
I was listening. It was in the background, and I was listening, and I noticed about flexibility and squad rotation because I wrote that down. Obviously, when I mentioned it at the beginning, but then obviously I missed your first bit, so I didn't know whether the question had slightly morphed or whether it was still the same.
No, it's just asking how your legs are.
I know the knackered, the goose, mate. I'm a back.
No, it's really, Andy. We're talking about the resurgence of City this season, and I think it's easy to sort of say Diaz has had this, and he has had a huge impact on the season. But is there anything else that you can identify that kind of has seen this change in not just players' form? Seems to be that everyone who comes into the team is playing to a very good standard. I was wondering if there's like Kurt's just there with inverted wingers and the wingers staying out wide. Is there anything you've seen that's kind of?
My biggest thing is I think we can. Yeah, I'm sure you've all discussed to death about the inverted wingers and Cancelo playing in this. Really, Pep's done it before, but I don't think he's done it as much as he's done with Cancelo. I think Cancelo is really sort of. We've seen Delph in that role. We've seen Walker go inside, and we've seen others and things. But I think he's done something different with Cancelo this year.
Yeah,
he's tried to make him. He's tried to force the likes of a Rodri and others to sit behind him, or a Fernandinho, sit behind when he goes forward. Somebody cover him. Somebody be in just deep behind him, and make sure that if we're going to commit him in that way, somebody must make sure that they cover him, because we know that he can give the ball away in some dodgy areas.
Yeah.
But what he brings going forward is absolutely phenomenal. But let's put all of that to one side, because Pep is a genius. We know Pep is a genius. We've seen it from day one. What he did with Delph, what he's done with Zinchenko, what he did with Fernandinho, putting him as a centre back. He's played Rodri as a centre back. He's put John Stones as a central midfielder. He's done all of these things. But that's just Pep. I think this season in particular, I think he's really got the squad in a mindset, a winning mentality, you will work every single minute, every single second. And I think that dropped off a bit last year. I think we looked leggy, we looked tired, we didn't look. Sometimes we'd seen players last season and we did the post-match stuff and everything outside the stadiums and things like that. And you were looking at certain players, and Kevin De Bruyne was one of them. So was Raheem Sterling. So were many of the other big teams, Sergio Aguero. And you were going, did they really put in 100%? Did they really bust a gut for the shirt, really, and the badge? Did they really? And that's rarely ever questioned of a Pep team, rarely. And I think this season, it's been, and we're seeing it now. Look how bloody good this is.
Can I just jump in, Andy?
Yeah, sure.
You were just making the point about last season. Let's also not forget that Pep's contract situation wasn't resolved.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. I think that's
the thing. That's a really big point in terms of he's committed his future here, and that's probably given the squad going, oh yeah, we're going again. We've got him for 2 years. He's not going nowhere. You know what I mean? I think that's really doesn't need to be understated. Sorry to jump in. I just wanted to make that.
No, I think it's a very, very good point. I think it's absolutely relevant. You're always going to get a bit of issues within a squad when the manager, who obviously has brought a huge amount of success to the team, is suddenly, well, we don't know. And that's the thing. We don't know. He might have been all along with the squad and everything going, don't worry about it. I'm here and that. We don't know. But if he's not signing a contract and he get all the media, all the mainstream media and social,
it's just noise, isn't it?
Yeah, noise. That exactly, perfect word. Noise. That noise in the background. And the players sometimes can be a little bit distracted by that And then the agents might start going, is he not signing a contract? Oh, I tell you what, Raz, and I'm not singling out Raz because I have no idea what Raz's agent has said, but I'm just sort of giving you an example. You know, Kevin De Bruyne's agent or whoever, anyone's agent. Well, if Pep's not going to be here, you're going to be happy because you know maybe we could get you a move too, and I can get a nice 10%, 15%, bonus and blah blah. And suddenly, all these things start rearing their head. Where when you've got a manager that you know is here for the next 5 years, then that's the 5 years or whatever. That doesn't mean to say that they can't be sacked. But I just can see a completely different mindset in the players, and you're probably spot on with that comment, Kurt, because let's face it, he signed, when did he sign his when was it announced? Was it November? Was it November? The end of November, he announced the extended 2-year contract after this season. I think it was. I might be wrong.
I'm not good with dates.
Somebody can correct me in the comments, but I think it was around about October, November where it was announced that he was going to extend his contract by 2 years. It's no surprise that since then, or pretty much since then, we've seen a different City team. We've seen a real determined City team, and every player now knows. And the difference being now, in addition to that, is that everyone apart from Nathan Ake is fit and fighting their place. Yeah. We have got a cup final coming up. We're in the next round of the Champions League. We've got the next round of the FA Cup. We're now 10 points clear in the Premier League. Every player, it was the 19th. Thank you, Charlie Everett. Appreciate it. I thought it was November time. But it goes to show you that, maybe that's himself. There's all these variants, aren't there, that come into play. Maybe the fact that he announced in November, and then suddenly from the end of December onwards, we've just been a completely different team. And everyone's happy, which it looks like everyone is very happy that Pepper's obviously signed, because the performance levels have been through the roof. And I've just seen a different City, certainly this last few months. And I think that rather than rotation, because I think Pep is notorious for rotation, he is. And that's why when people are talking about, Cancelo doesn't deserve to be dropped, and none of the players, there's not a player in that team lately you would go, he was shit, get rid of him, he shouldn't be playing. Riyad Mahrez has been good. I've been very critical. Chris has been critical of Mahrez, but he's done really well. And it's no surprise that the players we're talking about who have been exceptional and are now talking about player of the season and things like that, but only over the last couple of months. And that's Chris made the point last week. Let's not forget that Gundogan wasn't great in the early parts of the season. Neither was Cancelo. But over the last few months, everyone has stepped up. And maybe you're right, Kurt, maybe with the signing of the contract, and now everyone is now back fit. The actual competition for places, and the fact that we're still in 4 competitions, and you've got all this media hype of quadruples. They all want to be involved and all know, well, if I drop my levels by 5 or 10%, whether that be a Cancelo, Walker can come in. If Walker drops his levels, well, Cancelo's in, or a Zinni, or a Mendy, Mendy can't even get in the team at the moment. He can't even get a sniff because Zinchenko is there. Cancelo's playing there, so Mendy can't even get a sniff. And to be fair, I didn't think Mendy's done that bad when he's come in lately. But I think it's a culmination of things, Chris. I think Pep notoriously rotates, but now maybe Kurt's right. Maybe after him signing the contract and everyone is now fit, it's unbelievable. Your words were flexibility in squad rotation. The flexibility within the squad rotation we have is absolutely outstanding. What a position for a manager to be in. They all say, don't they? They love difficult decisions. They love when they can have to go to a player going, you're not going to play this week. That is what they want to do because they know they've got an exceptional squad. And Pep must be doing that to 5 or 6 players every single game. And we're playing 2 2-3 games a week, and he's doing that every time. Going, not today. You're going to be on the bench, and you've been brilliant for me, mate. You know, that could be a John Stones or whatever.
They can't argue because it's happening to everybody else. Everyone in the squad. It's not a favouritism thing. So that's
Raheem Sterling's been.
But that was my point a few months ago when I said that when Pep says these things, he has to be consistent with his actions. And remember when I was making the point about Raz wasn't getting dropped when he was in bad form. It was about making the squad happy, because if you're seeing everyone's getting it, how are you going to be able to? You can't pipe up and say what you're doing, dropping me when he's Kevin De Bruyne was dropped, mate. He was dropped. What are you talking about? Not a leg to stand on. Yeah.
Interesting.
I think another thing that sort of I've noticed more this season is the fluidity actually on the pitch in the game.
Yeah,
we're switching formations during games more so now than ever before, and it doesn't matter if Cancelo's playing or Walker's playing, because Zinchenko will do whatever job he has to do, or Cancelo will come over. I mean, and I know Zinchenko's had a lot of praise in the last few weeks on the channel, but I really don't think that can be underestimated. I think that the lad has been fantastic when he's playing.
He's been brilliant. He's been absolutely brilliant.
And that goes to a lot of players as well. Like, you know, because last season, Zinni didn't have a great season. John Stones didn't have a great season. Bernardo didn't have a great season.
Cancelo.
There was a lot. Yeah, Cancelo didn't have a great season. And all these lads are now performing to a very high standard. And Cal Buxton put something really good in the comments as well about Rodri and his. He's more accustomed now, I guess, to his role within the team. I think Rodri's having a huge impact on the team. I really do.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I mean, that was it. That was in the podcast I was listening to this morning, and they were saying the same thing in there. That I think everyone, obviously, Fernandinho, they all. I mean, the guys who were on there, I think it was, like I said, John Cross, Jeremy Cross, and Andy Dunn were saying that Fernandinho is just such an unbelievable player, and still is. But Rodri this season looks fitter. He looks sharper. And he looks like he's learned more about his positional play and reading danger. And again, I think we forget he's still fairly young.
Yeah, he is.
I've got a couple of comments about Zinchenko. I wasn't necessarily going to bring them up, but obviously now we're talking about it, it's actually a really good point. I know that he after every training session, he has a notebook and he writes down basically all the tactical elements that were changed in the training session, and he basically just goes home and chats to his missus about it. His missus is obviously a football reporter. He's obviously interested.
Then he's a sad bastard, because he's. Have you seen his missus?
And
I won't be doing that. I won't be doing that if I had his missus.
Zinchenko's been also giving up his time to jump in Zoom calls with a lot of the youth players, the really young ones who obviously aren't able to play football, and he's been giving them some mentoring online and things like that. And it's just crediting back to the thing that these are the type of people you want at the club, the people who love our club, that love being here, that love the fans, they love what the opportunity they've been given. And Zinchenko's just literally, if you could have a poster boy for that, he's the one.
Why don't we get him on Friday Night Social?
Yeah, well,
you might have the time, mate. You might have the time.
No, he's too busy with his notebook and his missus, isn't he?
You cannot say anything, I don't think, against Zinchenko. Even if he's not a player that you particularly like, he's been
superb.
Ultimate professional, hasn't he? Ultimate professional.
1.7 million. 1.7 million.
Unbelievable.
And it does make
we made money on him from the two loan spells to De Jong and PSV. We made money on him. They were paid loan fees. We made 1.5 million.
You know, before Christmas, right? I was pretty adamant we needed to get a left back in, right? And that's with Mendy going. If Mendy goes, I'm not overly concerned if we don't get a left back in. I am.
We will get one. We will.
I think Chris's statement there. I agree. As it stands at the moment, and we know how things change very quickly.
Yeah.
I'd be overly concerned if we didn't get a left back. I would like a new left back, but if Mendy went and whoever,
my hot take.
But I wouldn't be overly concerned with Zinchenko there and Cancelo, and the possibility of, if people who always shout about re-signing Angelino and I wouldn't be overly concerned. I still think we possibly need another top quality left back, in my opinion. But what position Pep is in?
We got Ake though. I think he's going to play a lot of games.
We've got Laporte as well, haven't we? I mean, we've got
lots of options.
It's a plethora, and I actually feel. I mean, one thing they did say on that vlog was, I think they mentioned the fact that Nathan Ake, 40 million quid, will in the summer City sell him for a profit because he's not needed.
What is wrong with it? What is wrong with him? What actual injury?
Muscle injury.
What for 3.5 months?
Sometimes these.
I think it got retested. I think it got retested.
I think it happened. I think it happened again, didn't it?
In his rehabilitation phase, that's what I was read. Anyway, I don't know how true that was.
It's not even 2 months yet, Alan. So
it's about 6 weeks.
It feels longer than it is because of how many games we play, mate.
Yeah, it's true.
In terms of game misses, he's missed a lot of games, but I think it's just like we're just playing every 2 or 3 days, isn't it? Endlessly.
Yeah.
Because he's a good player. He's a good player. I like him.
Oh, he'll slot straight back in, mate. He was playing early games of the season.
Yeah,
played a lot of games early on.
I've got no issue with him. I think he'd be fine. I think we need to definitely give him some more time. But anyway, that was a brilliant question again. Got tough ones tonight on Man City Fan TV. There are ones that we can't just come up with just our own opinion or things like that. It's one that we've had to talk, give an opinion, but then we've changed our mind and then we brought others in. It's been two great questions, which leads us on to the final question of tonight. Before we wrap up, we've got about 10 minutes or so left. But Alan, this is all about a false nine or not.
Yeah. Whatever way you look at it, obviously during the season, with Sergio being out for such a long time now, a year, and only just coming back.
There's another tenner.
And Jesus being in and out with injuries as well. We've been forced into playing a false nine. And over time, it's getting better and better and better the way we're playing with a false nine. And the whinges of about saying we need to buy a striker, has diminished over the season. So now that Sergio's back and Jesus is fit, do we persist with the false nine, or do we go with a number 9 now? What's the view of everybody else on the panel and people at home as well, of especially now we're coming to the nitty-gritty time of the year where the big games are coming in and we get into the latter stages of the Champions League.
Yeah.
What's going on? The haircuts. No. Okay.
It's Julio. It's Chris. Julio's Chris's favourite fan.
Oh, right, okay.
Well, Chris has got a few, to be fair.
He has got a few. He has got some followers. Go on.
I call Chris the smiling assassin because he says nothing for ages and just smiles, doesn't he? And you know something's brewing, you know.
It's because we're always talking and he's just stuck with all the comments. Maybe he should be the one controlling the comments.
I know.
He's laughing and I look at him going, exactly. What's he laughing at there?
I know. You do. You think, what's he thinking? Yeah, what's he thinking? So anyway, do we persist with the false nine and keep it going because it seems to be working, especially when we're coming to the nitty-gritty end of the season where the better teams are playing against us? We're going for the title, we're going for the Champions League, and the better sides are playing. Do we persist with the false nine, or do we now revert back to having a full striker on the pitch and playing that routine? What do you think? I'll go Kurt first because he's tactically quite good.
It's a really tough one, really, because if you were to just say in a game in isolation and you have a fit Aguero and you're choosing to not play a fit Aguero, seems really preposterous. But given obviously what we've seen over the last however many games, we seem to be really good at that because it allows players to not have to be sort of stuck in their position as much, the interchange. And it sort of comes back to that point we were talking about with the would you rather have the Kevin De Bruyne having the chances and Sergio on the end of them sort of thing. Yeah. I think it comes back to that. For me, I wouldn't be upset if we carried on playing with the false nine. I just think when it comes down to this crunch game, how can you leave a man like Sergio out of the starting 11? That's what it just comes down to for me. And if it would be anyone else, any other striker, I'd say stick with that false nine. But I don't know whether it's sentimental value that's probably swaying my decision a little bit. But I just can't see how you could not put Sergio back in if he's fit. But that's the question: is he? He may be fit to play, but is he fit and firing? That's a completely different question. Because I don't think it's going to take him a little while. But I'd be very happy if we carried on playing with the false nine for the rest of the season.
So what you'll say? It depends on the game. Is that what you're saying?
Because the thing is, there's absolutely nothing wrong with starting the game with the false nine. Gets to 60 minutes, the game's looking dicey. We need a goal. Who do you want more than to bring Aguero off the bench? You know. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think it's difficult with Aguero because we all know Aguero needs a bit of time to get back to his best. And if he doesn't play, he's not going to get back to his best. So it comes down to a lot of these things with the City squad. It's just a balancing act between what he wants to do. But you can't say that the false nine's not been working because we've been very good. And what's really improved for City is our conversion rate. We're creating probably as much chances as we were at the early part of the season. We're just converting our chances. We have 7 chances, we'll score 3 goals instead of having 10 chances and scoring 1. And we're doing that without a striker. So it's a very good question. It's a very, very, very difficult thing. And this is just what Pep must sit there every night having these headaches, mate, because there's just so many. But I think if we were to play tomorrow, I'd stick with the false nine just because Aguero's not on form. He's not back and he's not fully ready to go.
Okay, Andy.
Go to Chris first. I'm just.
I know. I can see you were looking at them.
I'm searching for something.
Right,
no, it's not about. Go to Chris first.
Go on, Chris. The smiling sausage.
I just downloaded something earlier, and I was just trying to find it.
How's the whiskies going, Chris?
Mate, I was going down very nice. I'm slowing down because I'm getting a bit, get heading that way. Anyway, I think that this is a really, really good question, Alan, for starters, because we have played really well all season, pretty much without a striker.
Yeah.
And if Sergio doesn't play, there is not a chance in hell that he's going to sign it. He's going to be here next season. And is Sergio ready for letting go? Is he the player that he was? We just don't know if we don't play him. But if we do play him, is it going to sort of affect the way we've played the whole of this season and what's been successful? I think it's a really huge question because there's no doubt Sergio Aguero is the best striker Manchester City has ever had in my lifetime. I can't go back to Eric Brook and Fred Dyson.
Oh, sure you can.
No, well, I can't, unfortunately, Andy. Those guys are obviously legends of the club, but Sergio in our time has just been sensational. And I thought when he came on against Gladbach, he looked fitter than he usually does when he comes back from injury. He looked sharper than he usually does. And the guy can stick the ball in the net like no other player in the Premier League, in my opinion. So it's one of those with Sergio. It's another conundrum for Pep to try and work his head round. Could it be an opportunity for Pep to actually say goodbye to Sergio? Because we all know we all know Pep. He would play a midfielder in every position on the pitch, bar goalkeeper.
That's a good question for you, Chris.
If he could,
That's a question for you. Now, or let's say, for argument's sake, this is a good question. If Pep decides that Sergio's bye-bye at the end of the season and he doesn't go out for a striker and goes out for a false nine type player, would you be happy with that? Would the fans be happy with that? Take away the sentiment about Sergio for 1 second and think, well, he doesn't go for Haaland. He goes for a false nine type player and goes with that next season.
It wouldn't surprise me, Alan. It really would not surprise me. I trust everything in Pep. Pep deserves all of our trust because the guy has produced in bucket loads. You know, the trophies just roll in with this guy. And like you mentioned earlier with João Felix. João Felix is probably a perfect Pep player. He probably could come. He probably could come into this team and play in that front three, probably anywhere within that front three.
Yeah.
And he probably could, you know, and he probably would get a bucket load of goals. I think he's a great player, but he's not. He's not a Sergio. He's just not a Sergio. And like you say, we have to accept that. No, we have to accept that. But maybe a Haaland is. Maybe a Haaland is more of a goal scoring centre forward. But I don't think Haaland has got the same ability as Sergio has in build-up play either. Because as you saw the other night with that lovely little back heel flick that he played, you know, his awareness around the pitch is as good. Is good. I'm not saying it's on a Bernardo.
Pep's changed him and made him a better player, no question.
Pep makes everyone a better player, though. That's the truth, Alan, isn't it? You know, if you don't become a better player under Pep, then that's your fault. Do you know what I mean? He gives you everything you need to improve. So yeah, Pats and Daka. Yes, Doopy.
Pardon, Daka.
Please, do me a favour. Honestly, don't even go there, Doopy.
Listen, this beard is short for me, trust me. But yeah, so I think it's a great question. I think at the minute, Alan, if I'm honest with you, I would stick with the way we've played this season. And
okay. Even when we play the Bayern Munichs or the Man Uniteds or the big games, Leicester's going to be a big game. Okay, what you say, we have to beat them, and that won't be easy with Vardy. You know, they play a certain type of way.
Alan, I don't think that we've put ourselves in a position now where we don't have to beat Manchester United and we don't have to beat Leicester City. They have to beat us. That's the truth of the matter. We don't have to beat them. So we can play a different game all over again against those two teams because they need 3 points.
Yeah.
And Pep is the man. He can change his systems, change his formation, change the way we play, and he'll get us. I trust him to get us the results that we need. But we don't need to beat them. But yeah, on the Sergio thing, I don't want Sergio to go. But
no one does. But
yeah, and I admit though, Alan, that is sentiment basically.
Yeah.
You know, the guy's a hero, a legend. You know, whatever you want to call a guy, there's no doubt in it. He's up there. He's right up there. You know, he gave us that moment. You know, he's a hero.
Yeah. Andy, your view?
Sorry, what was the question again?
I love this comment.
Was it about Isco?
Yeah.
The disco continues.
I think Julio likes Isco. No, go on, mate. Is it about the false nine? Do we play it? Do we keep it? And that type of thing?
Yeah. What do we do now for the remainder of the season? Do we keep the false nine system, or do we now the strikers are fit, or do we go back to the normal striker? What do we do?
You're talking about normal striker in Sergio Aguero?
Yeah, Sergio or Jesus as a number 9, or do we keep the false 9 routine with Mahrez, Bernardo, Foden, KDB playing in that? Because it seems to have worked, to be fair. It seems to have worked.
Yeah, I mean, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you back to a tweet on the 27th of July, 2011. And that was by Ollie Holt, obviously of the Daily Mail. Ollie Holt, you all know Ollie Holt from the Sunday Supplement and Daily Mail journalist.
Yeah.
I want to remind you that he did say...
A journalist?
Well, no, that's what he calls himself. No, I'm being fair to him. That's what he calls himself. He calls himself a journalist, so I have to I have to say what he calls
he's a Liverpool fan.
Well, this was his post. Aguero will be the highest profile signing of the summer so far. Still think Charlie Adam to Liverpool could.
Delusion does run deep. What can I say?
Is this Scouser? What do you expect?
And there you go. No, he claims to be a bit of a City fan. He does. To be fair to him, he does claim to be a bit of a City fan, a Stockport fan, whatever. whatever else. But it seems like he's a fan of every team that whatever suits his profile and on the day. But yeah, it's just interesting there. You talk about Sergio Aguero, and you go back to 10 years ago, and Charlie Adam was going to be a much better signing for Liverpool than Sergio Aguero, and here we are talking about that most pundits say is the greatest striker in the Premier League era. There you go. Carl Buxton is a Stockport County fan. Yeah, he is. I think he is. But he does have a bit of a soft spot for City, and sometimes I do agree with him. But I think it's going to be horses for courses. I think Pep will pick and choose. And are we talking? Is the question about between now and the end of the season, or in the future?
Could be both. Could be both.
Well, it won't be if we buy Haaland. Well, we're not going to play Haaland in a false nine.
No,
Haaland is that's his natural role. He is a potentially you would class him as a striker per se.
Let's say between now and the end of the season. Let's keep it simple.
Okay. I think it'll be horses for courses. I think Pep will. Can I see? Well, one thing for certain, I can guarantee you is that Sergio Aguero is not going to play every game to the end of the season.
No, it's not.
Which means that it's either Gabby plays that role or we play a false nine. I would still rather have. If Sergio's anywhere near 80-90% fit, I'd still rather have Sergio in the team. I'll be honest with you. I know that will mean other players dropping out and things like that. And I know we've done really well, and we need to not forget. And let's face it, our goals and everything else have dropped off significantly to where they were 18 months ago. They have. But we are winning. And so I am happy in both camps. If he wants to play false nine, we win 1-0 and 2-0. Fine, I'm happy with that. I'm absolutely. If that was a Champions League final and we played with a false nine, we won 1-0 and won it. Fine, I'm happy with that. If it was the Carabao Cup and we did that and we won 1-0, I'm happy with that. Pep knows what he's doing, and I think he will. I think he will just whatever he feels is right on the day, whatever he's seen in training during the week, where their fitness levels are, how many games they've played. We spoke about rotation. I think he will just decide on the day. And I think Pep is that clever that even if he thought, I really do need an out-and-out kicker, I can still figure out a system playing with a false nine to overcome this team. Okay. Or not be the false nine position. It might be something else behind the back that he figures out. But I still rather have Sergio in the team. I must be honest with you. But as we know, Sergio needs game time.
He does.
Speed.
We're running out of games.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I said it 2 months ago on here. I said we're going to be in a position, and it might be February, March by the time he comes back, and it's a shame. But I'm hoping he's going to get at least another year. For me, I'd still give him another year. I wouldn't even. It's no question for me. I'd give him another year. But I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Sergio in the summer. I guess we'll wait and see. But it's going to be.
I'm just laughing at.
Julio. Is Chris married? Asking for a friend.
Yeah, he is.
I am. Unfortunately, I'm married to my shed, mate.
He is just the stud of Man City Fan TV. They all love him. It's that beard. They love that beard. They love his hard whiskey drinking approach to this channel.
Chris has 4 wives at least.
No, one is enough.
Chris is married to the club. Yeah, that one. That club.
Canadian.
The Canadian, yeah. Dupe says, subscribe, guys. Yeah, please. A young Bob Hoskins. There you go.
Yeah,
what an actor he was. Right. I
like that. That'll do.
Right, I've got to go to. I've just remembered. I nearly forgot that.
Poll, right?
Now, Yeah, the poll, well reminded. I'm going to go to the poll. Let's have a look, see what the poll was, because this was on your question, Alan. And I put on the poll this morning, would you continue playing with a false 9, even if Aguero is back fit? And 81% said yes, and 19%.
That's interesting.
81% said yes.
That's interesting. That's interesting.
So there you go. That was nearly 100 votes on that particular question. There were other questions below, but particular one. 81% of the fans who voted on there said yes, they would continue with Sergio Aguero rather than continue the false 9 role. But wow, it's been absolutely brilliant. Stephen Denver, Chris, will you shave your beards off if we do the quad?
I'm having if we get the quadruple, I'm having a tattoo with Steve Bardsley and I'll film it on my arm, the City badge and all the trophies underneath.
Steve Bardsley. If we win
the quadruple, myself and Steve Bardsley are doing that, and I'll film it.
If we win, Steve, if we win the quad, Alan and Kurt are going to grow a beard. I've shaved mine. Mine's gone. I've shaved all mine.
The thing with mine is, Andy, we could be waiting a wee little while. We might be going into the next decade, mate. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
I grow in patches.
Oh,
same, mate. It looks terrible.
No. I had to shave mine. I've got some training on next week, so I had to have a shave this morning, last night. Anyway, well, get a tap, mate. Says Tyrone, yeah, I'll get a tap. There you go. I will do Man City. Well, not Man City TV. Well, you can put Man City TV if you want to. You can go on there naked. TV. Man City TV. Come on.
Did you? I take it you got a video off Ross with his kid.
I have. I was just waiting for Ross to give me the okay, because it's not something we would normally do. But
he wants that, mate.
I know he does. I've got it. That's what I was doing before when I came back to you. Going, sorry, what was the question? I was actually downloading it, but Ross needs to. He went over a bump. There you go. He went over a bump. He meant Man City Fan TV. We'll hold you to that. So, Ross, can you give me the okay if I show your little one with his proper Manc accent? So hopefully this will work.
In Melbourne.
It's Australian, but because
go for it, done it.
Because his dad's such a Manc. This is him watching football back with his dad. And you can hear his City. He's still a proper man. Here you go.
Yeah. Oh, proper blue, junior blue, brainwashed big time. Yeah. He said it the right way as well. He said in Melbourne, no Aussie accent.
Can you believe that child has only been brought up around Manc accents and then surrounded by Australian accents and still says City.
Brilliant.
Absolutely superb.
Banana scores on Wednesday. Brilliant.
There you go.
I don't want to break this to Ross, but definitely Shane Warne's.
What was that?
Yeah, haircut. Shane Warne's haircut. Absolutely. Yeah.
Got a Warne here.
Shane Warne. It's a surfer look, in it. They're trying to go for the blonde.
It's the surfer look. He lives about 3 miles from the beach, so he's going for the surfer look.
Yeah, surfer look, in it. No, they're saying she had a proper accent. Maybe they're thinking it's Charlie. It's Charlie. They're all thinking because long hair. It's a little boy. That's the
in England, it's the Phil Foden square haircut, and wear black tracksuits and black socks and all that sort of stuff. In Australia, it's the more scraggy blonde haircut surfer look. That's what it is. So
it
that's
is.
what it
Absolutely is. It's in the blood, all right. City.
Great video.
He smashed a rag at daycare today. There you go.
He was telling me yesterday, apparently every time he sees someone wearing a sky blue top, he goes, sit there.
Quality, mate, quality.
Yeah.
Absolutely. City family just getting bigger every day, says Leonard.
Brilliant.
Got to be talking to him early, mate.
Brilliant to see that. Brilliant.
He's got a man bun today. Oh, hey up. Jacket Man said, good to see Martin back on.
He's got a bit of vocabulary than Martin has, hasn't he?
But listen, guys, that brings us to the end of the Friday Night Social. We've run over slightly like we always do, but it's not as late as the ones we've done before. But I want to say a massive, massive thank you to the guys at West Ham, Irons United and Cess for coming on earlier. If you've not seen it, go and watch this video back. There will be a best bits. We will put out the specific section where we were talking about the review. That was at the beginning. But I want to say a massive thank you to those guys. If you are a West Ham fan or if you're a football fan and you want to go and follow what those guys talk about on their YouTube channel, it's in the description below. So the link to that YouTube channel is there. But again, another massive thank you to all the guys over at West Ham Irons United. And I want to say a massive thank you to these guys. Kurt, thank you very much, mate.
No, it's an absolute pleasure. It's a great part of the Friday nights, mate, coming to chat with you guys and everybody in the comments. It's always a great laugh. And it was a lot of fun discussions tonight, a lot of things to talk about, and always nice to chat to the West Ham fans. Always nice to chat to them.
It is. Nice picture in the background. Chris, how are you, mate?
I'm all right, thank you, mate. I'm hanging in there. I just want to say,
I just sort of saw a little bit of that, and I was thinking, you all right?
I'm not that bad. I'm not that bad. I think it's been a great show tonight. I thought Cess was a brilliant guest to have on.
Yeah, great.
What a lovely bloke. I think some of the discussions we had tonight afterwards have been really thoughtful, and so I thank Kurt and Alan for their part in that as well, because it isn't just so it's nice to come on and talk a bit deeper about City than we sometimes do. So thank you for my bottle of whiskey, Andy. Very much appreciated. It probably won't be around after the weekend, but thank you very much indeed.
Big gone tonight.
I'm surprised it's still around now.
I'm behaving myself. I just want to thank everyone in the comments for staying on and giving your aim. And there's been a great laugh in there tonight. Julio, give me a call, mate.
Brilliant. Duke says this is the best for City Fan Channel League. So thank you very much, mate. Alan, thank you so much for coming on, mate, and changing your tops as usual. You've been a superstar, and that's a bloody good top. That is a nice.
Great. It's great. I'll try not to pull the mic out this time.
I didn't know it came in that size, Alan.
It does. Extra large. But there we go. So
we're all in that size now, mate. Maybe not. He's a spring chicken.
It'll come, Kurt. Don't you worry.
I'm not worried about that.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Our day always comes, mate. Sooner or later.
Absolutely. Sam Martin says, "Night, guys." Julio's very pleased, and he's got his big love eyes there for Chris. Thinks it's quite funny. Get a poll going. Should Charlie have a weekly haircut feature? # haircut feature.
He's gonna have a Phil Foden one, then get his bike out and try and ride around the shopping centre precinct like Phil does after games.
There you go.
With his mates.
Dudley Lewis, good night, Blues. Great top, Alan, says Alec Johnson. Did you win Miss World, Alan?
Yes, very nice.
Yep. 2 Man City, says Dupes tomorrow. But guys, listen, we might be back tomorrow night for a post-match, a quick one. Tomorrow afternoon, because it's an early kickoff now, isn't it? Jesus, it's like 12.
12 hours.
Yeah, it is. It's in about 12 hours' time. We're going to be kicking off. Kingdom Sister, Chris, change air with Andy. Mine's going that way, mate. Trust me. It is. Dupes, up the Blues, absolutely. Listen, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody, not just the guys, not just Cess, not just Chris and Alan and Kurt, but all you guys for all of your comments. Very, very funny. Some of your comments, absolutely brilliant. Keep them coming. We love interacting with you on the channel itself. And don't forget, check out the polls and things like we do every day on the community chat. If you're not a subscriber, please, what you're doing, hit that subscribe button. If you are not, I should say, hit that bloody thumbs up button. 83 people are still on now, and we're going. We're over 120 odd earlier. Give it a thumbs up before you go. Really helps us on the channel. And somebody mentioned before, when is the Patreon coming out? It will be out soon, I promise you. I have just maxed out with work. I've got a big, huge course with a load of pilots next week that I'm prepping for and everything else. And I don't want to just throw out some crappy video on the channel. I want to do something that is a bit, gives you all the information that you need to know. But it will be out soon, I do promise you. That is my next task on Man City Fan. One of many. Yeah, it's been brilliant tonight. The Friday Night Social is always a pleasure. It wasn't one we were going to continue when the season restarted. It was purely for the COVID lockdown when there was no football. But it's been that good getting the guys like Kurt and Alan and Ross and Carl and Martin and all the other people on the channel who come on that we just decided to continue it. And that way we can amalgamate sometimes a preview into the Friday Night Social as well. So there you go. Fantastic show. Was looking forward to it at work. Thank you, Tyrone. Jacket Man says, see you, Charlie says that. Tyrone, sorry, just keep the time goes to press it. Jacket Man says, cheers again, lads. Take care. Fingers crossed for a win tomorrow. Absolutely. See you, says Charlie. Alex says, should be thousands on here. Well, they should be, but they're not. But we're fine with the people who are coming on this channel because if I'm guessing if we had 20,000-30,000 people commenting, we won't be able to read all your comments and interact with you the way that we do. We just wouldn't have time. That's not to say we won't like 20,000-30,000 on, but we're enjoying what we're doing right now for you guys. It's great to create this little sort of channel, and it is a little channel. We're not a Mark Goldbridge, even though he likes. You don't think that City have any big fan channels and things like that? Well, that's fine. He can keep his Nottingham-based sort of approach to fake fanism, whatever he likes. We would just.
Who's that, Andy?
Oh, sorry, Brent. No, Sandra. I can't remember which name he is, which one he is.
Yeah.
But
he knows what the outside of Old Trafford looked like.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah. No, I think he has been corporate a few times. Bless him.
Oh, has he?
Yeah, I think he has been corporate.
What a
few
bell
times.
end.
I know it is quite fine, but it's successful, and he appeals to a certain fan base, and that's absolutely fine. He does that for a living, so fair play to him. He's made a good living out of it. But I'm more interested in. And I think
1 banana, 2 banana, 3 banana, 4.
Yeah, I think as City fans, we're more interested in chatting each other about football rather than just trying to make as much money from a channel as you possibly can. Anyway, take care, guys. Have a wonderful. Well, we're now into Saturday morning. Enjoy the game tomorrow, whatever you do, and we'll be back at some point. And Ross says,
quick one.
ruining football and YouTube. There you go. We get blamed. But take care. Have a great evening. Go on, Alan, quickly.
Quick one, 11:30, the Imperial tonight. The Melbourne Blues will be in there watching the game. So come down. The Imperial's on the corner of Burke Street and Spring Street in City Centre, Melbourne. There you go.
Go if you're in Melbourne, go over to watch the game at the Imperial. But if not, enjoy the game tomorrow. We will be back doing something at some point tomorrow, I'm sure, even if it's just a quick vlog, chatting about how City got on against West Ham. It's going to be a tough one. But as usual, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon, give it a thumbs up before you go. And I want to thank these superstars for coming on the channel. I do appreciate it. And so do all of you lot. But take care. We'll see you soon.